Super Typhoon Inday has now been downgraded to typhoon status, according to the information that I have reviewed. What are the current conditions here on the beautiful Subic Bay? Well, you're in luck. So I want to welcome you to this live stream on Typhoon Inday storm coverage, live from right here in the mountains overlooking the beautiful Subic Bay. What's going on? How's the weather? Well, let me give you a live look at weather conditions here. Obviously you see the graphic there from Pagasa up on the screen. Still looks like a pretty nasty storm, but these are our current conditions here in the mountains overlooking the beautiful Subic Bay here in the Philippines. Zero rainfall at the moment. Do have some clouds rolling in. Winds are very calm, maybe almost at a zero. That's your current weather conditions here on the ground in Subic Bay. But that is still what we're looking at. Super Typhoon Inday been downgraded to typhoon status. So welcome to the show. Without further ado, let me go check your comments. If somebody can let me know if you can hear me okay, and how is the audio and the video quality. Now I always keep telling you I can't, the sun's too bright, but I've got the window open, got the camera shooting in the right direction, but the sun is just baking me here in my chair. Things I do to bring you good quality weather reports. Let's see, Kylie, how are you? Jerry, Q Fam, Coral C, good morning, James, how you doing? Anna, how are you? Tays well. Yeah, I gotta rock this hat, and I'll tell you why. Well, I just told you why, because I got the curtain open right now, so I can show you that live view. But when the sun pops out, it's just baking me, so I had to put this hat on. It's not too bad right now because of the cloud cover, but any normal day, I can't open the curtains till about 11. Dennis, how you doing? Bad Boy Travel reporting a gloomy morning with very little wind here in Bohol. Okay, thank you very much for that local weather report down in Bohol. Last night when I set up this stream, we were getting a little bit of wind. It was picking up. I was like, okay, here we go. So my first description was the wind is picking up last night around 6 o'clock, somewhere in there. And then as soon as I set the video to public, the wind died down and it was back to zero. It's back to as calm as we're seeing right now here. Now the old lady left some clothes out on the line last night and looked like they got a few sprinkles, like just the tops of them were damp. So if there was any rain last night, it was just a few sprinkles. But her clothes are clearly still out on the line. And we got clouds rolling in, but sunshine right now shining down on my desk. So if you're just joining us, we're going to go over the weather report coming from Pagasa. I'll keep you updated on current conditions here on the ground here on the beautiful Subic Bay. See Daniel checking in from Pittsburgh. Robert, how you doing? Reporting the audio is good, thank you. Let's see, Farouk Post 69er checking in from Taiwan, getting ready for the ride. Yeah, it looks like it's coming your way, my friend. I guess the good news is it's downgraded to typhoon status. Still a big storm, but the track does have it going just north of Taipei. So yeah, y'all got to get ready. It's coming your way. John, man, how you doing? Reporting the audio and video is good. See James giving us a weather report from North Georgia. Very hot conditions there in North Georgia. All right, Bruce, how you doing? Central Florida, Singapore Dan. Will and Carol checking in from Columbia, South Carolina, Benito in Texas, and KC Cool Daddy checking in. Thank y'all very much. All right, let me put my old man glasses on for just a second. It looks like I am live on Instagram. Figured that out. They'll give us 1 hour of time. All right, looks like I'm up running on Twitch with great video quality. Okay, and then let's check the old Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's platform here. Does it look like I got a feed going in there? Nope. Something, I didn't change any settings, but something inside with the Google squirrels doesn't seem to be working right. It worked for the first few videos. I didn't do anything different, and now I can't get the live stream up and running on the Facebook. So you know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just not gonna worry about it. Took me a day to figure out how to get plugged into all these other platforms. But at least we're up on Instagram and we're up on Twitch. Okay, so the graphic that you're looking at, and folks, this is a great website. I did take the time down in the description to put 3 important links to Pagasa's bulletins that we're about to go over, and to this site. I kept trying to figure out what is Panahan. And I think it's actually an app as well. But this graphic that you're looking at is coming from that Panahan site, and it has a lot of great information. And it's good, you know, it's my new go-to for looking at weather here in the PI. So check those links down in the description. You'll see exactly what I'm looking at coming from the government here. Let's see, checking in from Rome, BBD. Looks like we got Big Pumpkin in the chat. The Big Pumpkin in the chat. She's watching Forrest G in the other bedroom. Good morning to Maximus. How you doing? Checking in from Chicago on a beautiful summer evening. Jacob in Dallas. Hawken in Ohio. Cool Breeze checking in from OKC. How you doing? Let's see, an Intrepid 456 checking in from Austin. Is this a hard hat? It's not a hard hat. It's a keep the sun off my head hat, because I've got the windows open there. And the reason I've got the curtain open is so I can give you this live feed here early. Usually I just keep the curtains closed until the sun gets high enough where it doesn't bake me. But I said, you know what? I got to show them on the ground live conditions from the mountains overlooking Subic Bay. So that's a live feed from here in Zambales. If you want to know what's going on over this way. Now I can't tell you exactly what's going on in Manila or Angeles City or anywhere else. 100% accuracy, but with 100% accuracy I can look out the window and tell you, yep, it's cloudy, light to no wind, 0 on the rainfall right now, and you know, no tornadoes or anything of that nature. There you go. So if you got family here in the Subic Bay area, it's business as usual. Drop my daughter off at school. Everybody's going to school. Everybody's going to work. And here on Subic Bay, it seems to be a normal day. Business as usual. Let's check the other camera. Get another look at wind speeds. Everything is calm here on Subic Bay. So if you look at the graphic there, obviously a huge storm. just to the east of us. I don't know if they're starting to get affected or impacted up there in Tegegurau, northern Luzon, Batanes, the islands up there. It looks like they probably are, but I don't know. Why? I'm not a meteorologist and I'm not there. Alright, I'm here on Subic Bay. That's where I'm at. Let's take a look at some different graphics just to, if you use the Windy app. That's from windy.com. That's what the storm looks like from that perspective. Everybody has their favorite app or website or source to go to. I like to look at them all to get sort of a more informed overall picture of what's going on. That's from AccuWeather.com. A little bit zoomed out there. That's from Zoom.Earth, the satellite picture. So as we can see, it's still a huge storm, right? From north to south, it's probably about as big as the Philippines are from north to south. And again, the track has this thing tracking north of Taipei. The models vary just a few degrees, but if I were in Taipei, I'd be hunkering down. It's coming your way. Without further ado, we're back to, it's the panahan.gov.ph. And I'll tell you in a minute what that stands for, or somebody can look it up and put it down in the chat. I think it stands for Pagasa something something something. But just what a great site, and I think it's actually an app. Now we move on to Pagasa's actual site. And as they're reporting there, Inday weakens into a typhoon as it continues to move west-northwestern. So let's go to the actual bulletins. Alright, this one was issued at 5 a.m., 9 July. Today is Thursday, and there will be another update at 11 a.m. So there's your graphic right there. That's my favorite graphic to look at. It's just pretty simple. It shows us, too far up. Hold on a second, right there. It just shows us the track, the anticipated track, and it puts the date and the time of where it's supposed to be. So let's see, Thursday at 2 p.m. right there, 2 a.m. and so forth. So let's just go over this right quick. Let's see. And again, it also will tell you to go to weather advisory number 11 issued at 5 a.m. for the heavy rainfall outlook. So after this, we'll take a look at what they're saying about the heavy rainfall, not only due to Typhoon Inday, but also the southwest monsoon. So now they're saying the highest wind signal that may be raised throughout the passage of Inday is a wind signal 2. Yesterday they said it was a signal 3. Now it's downgraded. Hey, the highest is going to be a signal 2. And there are several areas. I don't know if this will list them or not, but there are areas that are under a signal 1, wind signal 1. Okay, let's see. We scroll on down here. It's got the locations. Hold on a second. It's a scientific fact that when you push the go live button, your voice will give out. I don't know why. It's just a proven fact. So it's got a lot of information on here. Again, the link to this bulletin is in the description. If you want to sit there and really take a look at it and know where I'm getting this information from. Let's just scroll on down. Still moving west by northwest at 20 kilometers per hour. I think yesterday was 25, if I'm not mistaken. So it may have slowed down a little bit. Still containing maximum sustained winds of 175 kilometers per hour near the center, with gustiness up to 215. Okay, so here you go right here. Here's our wind signal areas. Might be going a little bit fast. when they put these wind signal areas, the Philippines is over 7,107 islands. It's an archipelago. So they list so many different places. You just got to sit there and scroll through it and look and find where you're at. There's the affected areas under a signal 1. I'll just summarize it. Places on Luzon. Okay. Now I don't know if they've got the bullet points for the Visayas and Mindanao as a whole, and they're just not listing the areas. A little bit confusing on there, but there are some places under Signal 1 here in the Philippines. I saw a local news article, some school closures, but here on Subic Bay, at least my kids' school, everybody's going to school, everybody's going to work. Business as usual here on the beautiful Subic Bay. Now I went through that quickly, but I think the main takeaway is that the information is there. I got the link down in the description, and if you just save that link, you go straight to the most accurate, up-to-date information that PAGASA is putting out. You're not familiar with what PAGASA is. It's the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. So if you read a news article, all they're doing is the same thing I'm doing. They're quoting what PAGASA is putting out. Okay, so here's weather advisory number 11, issued at 05. And what this does, it talks about the rainfall. So for Typhoon Inday in the southwest monsoon, it takes a minute to read it, but basically today, they don't have anybody listed, but Batanes for tomorrow is Friday, July 10, because today is July the 9th, it's a Thursday. So we have some areas listed for today with some heavy rainfall due to the southwest monsoon. Not Inday, but the southwest monsoon. Occidental Mindoro, how do you say that? Is that Antique? And Negros Occidental. Tomorrow, boom, Zambales. That's where I'm sitting. So we're getting a heavy rainfall outlook for tomorrow, which is Friday. All those places listed right there. And then Saturday you have more spots. So just keep an eye on this. The link is down in the description. Pretty simple, straightforward, to the point. So as an old single dad, what I took away yesterday and what I'm taking away today is that, okay, the kid's gonna have school today, Thursday, and they probably or possibly might not have school on Friday due to heavy rainfall. So we'll see if I'm right. Maybe they don't cancel school. Maybe they don't. All right, that's just what I take away from this document here. And again, so that link, this link, and this link right here are all down in the description, so you know exactly where I'm getting my weather information. So there you go. Let me go back down to your comments here. That was a little fast. Go back through your comments. Bert, how you doing? Coral C checking in from Jacksonville. Let's see, Jason, how are you? Under the Dogwoods. See Texan checking in from Highlands, Texas. And see Hawken, not sure exactly what's going on with that situation. Yeah, there's a bunch of U.S. Navy assets in the region. I'm sure they'll be available to help out. West 1841 checking in from the Bay Area. Go to Pop Displays checking in from Indiana. Hope you're doing well. seconds count. Checking in from Australia. How you doing? Let's see, and then back to asking me if this is a hard hat. Nope, not a hard hat, but this is a cotton hat given to me by one of our friends in Australia. Dropped off 2 hats back in the day, back when I was doing a lot of drinking, and I don't even know who to thank for these hats. But this hat here, it's I think they call it something like the Outback Apollo hat or something like that. It's cotton, but for an everyday daily driver, this thing is the coolest on your head, keeps the sun off your head, and it takes a beating and keeps on ticking. Let's see, Michael checking in for Memphis. Thank you very much for the prayers. And Bert says make sure you have a kerosene lantern. Alright, so let me just give you see what's on the screen there. You see it looks pretty, still looks pretty nasty, even though it's been downgraded to a typhoon, to typhoon status. Let me give you a live look at our weather conditions here on Subic Bay by just pointing a camera out the window over the mountains. So we do have some clouds rolling in, but 0 to 1 kilometer per hour wind, if that. 0 on the rainfall. And again, it's just business as usual here. Now, bear with me because I got a little tag here. Like if I leave this thing up, where's it at? Live feed. Okay, there we go right there. That's sort of covering up myself. I'll have to move that over. Because I said, if people tune in and I'm not talking about it, they're going to wonder where I'm at. So how about right there? Live feed from the mountains near Subic Bay. Camera is facing northeast. Okay, so there we go. Let me know how that looks. Now, folks, leave me some feedback about the audio. It's the same audio settings as yesterday. I'm using this microphone here. It's an old mic. It's an old interview mic, but it's a champion. And it's the best microphone I have for drowning out all the noise of my kids in the neighborhood. And then I simplified the top graphics. I'm always changing things up. So feel free to let me know how the video looks, the layout, and especially the audio. Drinking me some RC Cola. Wishing I had me a moon pie to go with it. Whoop. Get my drink fixed up here. I almost wish I had me some Jack Daniels to go in this RC Cola, but I haven't been drinking in over 2 years. Sometimes I question, at this point I'm questioning the sanity of that decision with the craziness going on in the world. So if anybody's here in the PI, feel free to leave us a local weather report in the chat here. Okay, let's see. Michael says sounds good. Yeah, brownouts are popular during a hurricane, typhoon. Yeah, I was talking about that yesterday, how, living here, we get about a short brownout once a week. I mean, I'm talking a few minutes. It doesn't disrupt operations really at all. Where, living over in Angeles, we never had a brownout. Over here, maybe once a week. But a lot of times during the typhoons, it's not rocket science. You're going to lose power, but I think a lot of times they cut it off intentionally for safety. I don't know. I'm not an electrician. I don't work for the power company. But you can pretty much assume if it's going to get bad weather, yeah, you're going to experience a brownout. Problem for me is that it will take down my stream during the, look at that, man, brand new wood furniture from Johnny's Bamboo Shop. There we go. Big shout out to Johnny and Jelly. Loving the new folding wood tables. Let me know how you like the wood tables here. How does this look? Does this look all right? I'm really digging them. All right, put that graphic back up on the screen, and I'll go back to your comments. See, Poncho says, do I know Bareilly Subic? Well, right off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with Bareilly. I have to take a look on the map. Yeah, at this point, I still haven't picked up a tank of LPG and new regulators. It's on my list of things to do. So, Big Pumpkin is cooking on an induction burner now. If we lose power, how are we gonna cook? I got a charcoal barbecue grill out there we can cook anything on. So, you know, the old lady grew up, still loves to cook with wood anyhow. So if the power goes out, we got charcoal. We'll be out there cooking on that grill. Let's see, Night Owl, how you doing? See, Susan, how are you? Okay, checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. And what time of day is it there now? Well, right now we're exactly 12 hours ahead of y'all. So it's 8:15 Wednesday night, 8:15 p.m. there in North Carolina. You just flip the p.m. to a.m. It's 8:21 a.m. right now. Now when daylight standard, or what do they call it, daylight savings time changes, then it's 1 hour off. But right now we're exactly 12 hours opposite of 12 hours ahead of y'all. So it's Thursday morning at 8:21. Let's see, Satterman1, thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry Truth Teller is back. Inday is going way north of Philippines between Taiwan and southern Japan. Will not come close by a long shot. Lucky again, but continue your BS Panama Jack. Satterman, thank you very much for tuning in and giving us some of your wisdom. We always like to hear your comments. Certainly appreciate you being here. I just wish you would comment more and leave longer comments if you could, please. We got Charlie checking in from Pennsylvania. Let's see, KC Cool Daddy says, can I make my video a little bigger? Yeah, you know what happened is that I made the perspective here, you know, a little bit bigger. That way if Big Pumpkin comes and sits down, or I have guests in the background. But when I do the small picture in the picture, it looks very small. So that is a good point. You know, it's a give and take relationship. I can make myself look closer. Well, I could just make the box bigger. And I did have the box bigger, but what I realized was I was having to make everything else smaller, and people couldn't see the source material. So maybe I'll take a look at that, maybe make it a little bit bigger. Thank you very much for the input there. Yeah, these tables are champions, especially for what he charges. They're folding tables, but they're wood. They're very sturdy wood. They're heavy, but they will fold flat. So compared to going and buying a plastic table, like we have a folding plastic table in the kitchen, you know, it's much lighter, but much more expensive. I think I could get maybe 3 of these tables from Johnny, handmade, made out of good solid wood for the price of one of those plastic tables, you know, made in China. Let's see, Davo, how you doing? Okay, so let's just get back to the topic at hand for a minute here. I guess I need to take down that green box unless we're looking at the feet. If you're just joining me, this is a live feed from the mountains overlooking Subic Bay. So if you've got family here in Zambales, you know, Barrio Barreto, Subic Town, this is what I'm looking at right now. That's a live feed out my window here of my studio. So current weather conditions, maybe a 1 kilometer per hour wind gusts, 0 sustained winds, 0 on the rainfall, and we just got cloudy skies. It's warm. It's just a beautiful morning. Beautiful weather right now. Again, here on Subic Bay, everybody's going to work. Everybody went to school. Just a normal day. No problems, even though this is what's, you know, just to the east of us. But as my esteemed colleague, Mr. Satterman, just let us know, the eye of Typhoon Inday is basically making that right turn. It's made that right turn. It's heading just north of Taipei, Taiwan. So the eye is going to miss the Philippines by a good distance, but the outer bands, because it's a big storm, I mean, should be impacting us by tomorrow, according to what I've just read from Pagasa. So we should be getting a lot of rain tomorrow, according to the bulletins. There you go. So when I put the other perspective up, I can click that right there and let people know what they're looking at. All right, back to your comments. Thank you very much, Night Owl. It's an award-winning weather program. Well, thank you very much. Pip Syndicate, how you doing? Yeah, so, you know, I think I'm like anybody else, right? I watch the weather, whatever, read the articles, what have you. But in doing this, what you realize is that a lot of these folks, these news articles, they're getting their information from the same sources. Same source. Just go to the source. Just go to Pagasa and see what they're putting out. And, you know, you can skip all the most of the news programs. All they're doing is putting out the same stuff that I have up on the screen right now. Let's see, Under the Dogwood says, I watch Mr. Weatherman on YouTube for Southeast Asia weather updates. Yeah, there's obviously some real weathermen here on the old YouTube doing weather reporting. I'm making the assumption those guys are meteorologists. I don't know. I am not a meteorologist. I just play one here on YouTube for your entertainment purposes. But again, what do I know how to do? I do know how to read what everybody else is reading. I know how to find the source material and share that information with you. And I also know how to visually demonstrate ground truth. That's looking out one of my windows, looking out my carport. You can check the trees and decide for yourself what kind of weather's going on here in Subic Bay, and you can take a look in that direction and decide for yourself what's going on here on Subic Bay. So there you go. See Donald checking in from Vancouver. Hope you're doing well. All right, JL Smithling says Windy is a good app. I agree with you. Windy is a great app, But being here locally in the Philippines, once I stumbled onto this site that I have up on the screen, which I do can't talk. I do believe is an app as well. This Panahan, let me make sure I tell you. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up and tell you what Panahan stands for. Because the Panahan app that I've got up on the screen is sort of very similar to Windy. It's great, but it's, you know, specific here for the Philippines. I'm trying to I forgot what Panahan stands for. Panahan. Okay, it stands for Pagasa Nationwide Hydromet Observation Network. And I think it's just a localized version. This is my opinion and my perception. It's just a localized version of the Windy app. So whoever come up with this, it's working great for me. But yeah, I like Windy too. But definitely click on the link in the description on that Panahan and check it out. Let's see, Cypods. Good morning from Korea. All right, how you doing over there? It's on its way to the Korean area, but highly unlikely to direct hit at this time of year. Our hits come later from the end of July. Okay, Mike Escape, good morning. Steady rain in Comanjac, did I say that right? In Negros Oriental. So they got steady rain down that way. Make sure you have your clothes indoors for drying. Well, right now, Big Pumpkin has her clothes out on the line. She left them out all night long. There's a little bit of moisture on the top of them. I don't know if that was just, you know, from the dew, or if there was some actual sprinkling going on. But her clothes are still out on the line right now. If you hear a, you know, oh, and then her running and laughing and hollering, you'll know that the rain is coming. Let's see, Angelo, how you doing? Okay, reporting flooding here in Parañaque City, if I say that right. That's what the old lady was saying. The old lady said something this morning that it was raining down in Manila. But again, I don't know. All I can assert 100% is that it's not raining here where I'm at on Subic Bay. And there's my evidence to support that claim, with more evidence over in this direction. And I'm not saying that we're not about to get you know, some heavy raining here. I just think, looking at Pagasa's bulletin, it's going to be tomorrow. Alright, so let me come over here. Let me refresh the screen. Again, this is panahan.gov.ph. Because to be honest, I don't know if the site makes that storm track automatically, or, you know, you got to keep refreshing the screen for updated. It says down at the bottom there, Thursday, July 9th at 9 a.m. So maybe just updates every 30 minutes. I don't know. And I think you can push play on this thing. Let's see, let's push play and see what happens. Okay, so there's a projection at 11 a.m. So it actually puts the projection in motion if I push play. But I don't know. You just refresh the screen, it seemed to be doing well. And this is pretty cool. Again, it's sort of like the Windy app. You can click that and there's your rainfall. Look at this. Man, just better than the weatherman here. You got zeros everywhere. I guess I need to zoom in. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It's got a 14 there. Anyhow, you can look at the rainfall. Here's your temperatures. Looks like where we're at is around 25.6, if that's correct. We can do wind speed. See wind direction. I think we're already seeing that. Let's go to satellite imagery. Now see, when you go to that satellite imagery where they add that contrast and those colors in there, it just naturally looks pretty scary. And I mean, it is scary, but just the visual representation, when you switch over to that, I don't know, it just puts a little bit more fear in you, I think. There's another view right there. Let's see, I got to click for a Doppler here, radar, mosaic, prediction models. Okay, so let's just click on the wind intensity and direction prediction model. There we go, right there. So you've got all kind of options on this site, and then if you just refresh the screen and start over, it just puts you back at that basic perspective right there. Too easy. Too easy. And again, if it's an app, I don't know. I haven't downloaded it if it is an app and checked it out on the old iPhone. But for what I'm doing here, this thing is perfect. Go back to your comments. Let's see, Toriano Photography, how you doing? Yeah, we're prepared here. You know, you always have to be prepared for these storms. I mean, I'm going to be Captain Obvious here for a minute. A lot of people, well, just like Mr. Satterman came on here and said, oh, it's going north, don't worry about it, right? Okay, well, there's probably about a 90% chance, 95% chance he's right on the money. What if it don't? Storms often take turns that we aren't predicting. So you always have to be prepared as if it were coming your way. And then when it tracks north and there's zero rain, you just be thankful that that's the way it went. So now we're prepared. We got all the all the water jugs filled up. Plenty of extra sardines for Big Pumpkin. The Afrittata? Whatever it is. We got plenty of canned goods, a big old sack of rice. No problem. We're gonna make it. Thank you very much. Under the dogwood. See, Kev, how you doing? Good morning from Paranaque. I can never say that right. So we got the report that it's raining down there. Anybody else in Manila? If anybody's in Manila, let us know what's going on your way. BR6021, batten down the hatches. Now, folks, it looks like we do have some rain. Big pumpkin, big pumpkin, big pumpkin. It's raining, sprinkling on your clothes out there. Big pumpkin, big pumpkin. We are getting some rain. So you should see, or maybe hear, big pumpkin heading that way. But you know what? It's already stopped raining. Okay, so breaking news here on Subic Bay. We did have about 8 seconds worth of sprinkling rain with wind gusts up to maybe 3 kilometers per hour. But Big Pumpkin didn't find it enough rain to go out there and remove the clothes, and now the sun's coming right back out. All right, that's the most action that we've seen so far during the broadcast. 8 seconds of sprinkling rain here on Subic Bay. Breaking news. Maybe a few more sprinkles. I heard a door slam. Is Big Pumpkin going to respond and get the clothes? Yep, I hear the flip-flops going. She's out there. She's checking the clothesline. Big Pumpkin, would you like to be on my weather report? Is she removing the clothes? Now, hold on. This is a scientific. I have to get up out of my chair. Yeah, she's already got the clothes. She's too quick. So the old lady is removing the clothes from the clothesline. Looks like we have some more sprinkling rain coming in here in the mountains overlooking Subic Bay. So it's official. Big Pumpkin has taken the clothes off of the clothesline, which indicates rain. But I mean, we're talking a light sprinkling of rain, and now it's back down to about, well, I don't want to say the rain has stopped, but it's very, very little rain. So for the historical record, at about 8:35 a.m., we did receive some sprinkling rain. And it looks like, according to my sophisticated, I keep pointing that way, my sophisticated weather instruments, the trees. You look at trees, you can tell the wind speed, right? We are getting some wind picking up here. Just a little bit of wind. Sprinkling of rain, still cloudy skies. The sunshine is still peeking through. That's your updated weather report from Subic Bay. Let's take a look out the other way. All right, you can see that the leaves of the trees are moving just a little bit. And there's a cow, a light colored cow in the background, wagging his tail. You can see his tail because the end of his tail is dark colored. But I need to change the cameras and put an ND filter so you can see that cow better. But it's still just business as usual here on Subic Bay, even though there's a typhoon to the east of us. Man, got some action with Big Pumpkin out there. All right, back to your comments. Let's see, South Florida Sam. Yeah, we need her to do some remote reporting. And I can do it, no problem. All I got to do is issue her a wireless microphone and point the camera at her. But Big Pumpkin does not like to get rained on. We discussed this yesterday, how Filipinas do not, at least all the Filipinas that have filtered through my life, they do not like to get rain on their head. Now, she grew up in a village, walking, several kilometers to school, back and forth every day during the rainy season. But now, if there's 2 sprinkles of rain, she takes off running, or she's got something over her head. And we talked about yesterday, there's some superstitions involved, but she does not like to be in the rain, not even a sprinkle. Now, if she just got a fresh rebound, you'd understand it, but she hasn't had a rebound in a long time. So it would be very difficult to get her out there in the elements to do some storm reporting. Let's see, Kel. Yeah, we've got our rice. I got 2 buckets here. I got one food grade, the white food grade buckets. So I got that thing filled up with rice. And then the secondary bucket, I would show y'all, but I'm using them as tables for my mouse. So I told her, hey, if you need some rice, get it now, because you can't come here and mess up the tables for my mice. I got a yellow, bright yellow bucket that cookies come in. Y'all might laugh at me, but you go to the cookie aisle and they'll have these plastic big buckets of cookies, and they're cheap. I mean, they're almost as cheap as going and buying the regular plastic bucket, and you get a whole thing of cookies. And this one's square, it's got little clips on there. I said, yeah, the cookies were delicious, and now I got another rice bucket. And they stack perfectly too. I did a video a couple years ago where one of the cookie buckets actually doubled as a water jug with the spout. And that spout was such good quality, it lasted a long time. So if you go to the cookie aisle here in the Philippines and buy those big plastic things, they work real good for rice storage or anything you want to keep the critters out of your stuff. And you get the cookies. Efficiency. Yeah, they hate the sun too. Let's see, therapist for TDS, Japan on station. Yeah, we're all good here. Not sure where you're at in Japan, but I guess y'all could get some rain up that way. At least the southern portion of Japan, maybe. Let's see, Filipina and American Love checking in from Batak, or is it Batak? And nothing here yet. Okay, so clear weather there. Yeah. Fatima and her dried fish is a never-ending battle. Let's see, Claude Berry, how you doing? Yeah, everything's good here. Everything is good here. We're obviously keeping an eye on the storm like everybody else. But let me give you another look out my window here, and it looks like it's already stopped sprinkling. So Big Pumpkin sort of jumped the gun, I think, on pulling her clothes off the line. But as you can see, it sort of looks like some rotation. I can't 100% swear that those are outer bands, but it sort of looks like some rotation. I don't know. We got clouds rolling in, but the rain has stopped. So just a little bit of sprinkling. That's all we can report here. Where are we? We're right here in the mountains next to Subic Bay. So if you got family here in Zambales, as of right now, everybody's doing fine. The kids are in school. Everybody went to work today. It was business as usual this morning. So, public schools in session. I can't speak about the private schools, but up here, the schools, business as usual. My speculation, the Ron Burgundy in me, I'm speculating that the kids will be out of school tomorrow, just due to the heavy rain, and they'll probably err on the side of caution, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the one who makes the call. And again, during the orientation, there's a graph that says if this signal is raised, or if this, I forget the rules, but if I could find my notes, I'd know automatically if this happens, then school gets canceled. And anyhow, what does old single dad really want to know about the weather? Hey, do the kids have school or not? Do I got to get up and take them to school in the rain, or call the trike, or do they not have school? All right, so a little wind gust just blowing through. Man, just lowered the temperature here in the studio by about 10 degrees. Man, got a little shiver going on right now. Got no air conditioner here in the house. A lot of y'all hit me about that, but I made a command decision. I'm not buying an air conditioner, and it's paid off because the weather here has been cool enough that we don't need an air conditioner. Even if I had one, I'd still have the windows open with this nice, cool, fresh air blowing through. And then as soon as that gust blew through, it goes back to being calm. So again, folks, if you're just joining me, this is a live feed here in Zambales province near Subic Bay. This is what's still going on just to the east. I say pretty much to the east of Tuguegarao, northern Luzon. Super Typhoon Inday has been downgraded to typhoon status. Now, if you're not familiar, the international name for the storm is Bobby, B-A-V-I. And when I hear that and I say that, it just makes me want to say Ricky Bobby for some reason. Once the storm enters into the Philippine area of responsibility, it's given a local name, and the local name for this storm is Inday. So you're staring at Typhoon Inday as it sits inside the Philippine area of responsibility. And again, its projected track, which it seems to be following the track, puts it just north of Taipei, Taiwan, the northern portion of Taiwan, and then headed on into China. Okay, let's see, it's 8:50 a.m. A couple hours, we'll get new bulletins from Pagasa, and I'll probably follow the same model I've done the past 2 days. We'll keep the stream up and keep talking and discussing everything. 11 a.m. when they post those updated bulletins, we'll talk about what's going on, and if there's nothing going on, I'll shut the stream down until we get some action. And not that I'm praying for action, I'm quite the opposite. You know, most of my typhoon live streams have been big nothing burgers. There's been no action, no cars floating down the road, no trees getting blown over. And I'm very thankful for that, and I'm hoping the same thing happens now. As far as I'm concerned, every live stream I do during a typhoon, if they turn out to be big nothing burgers, I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely cool with that. Let's see. Kev says fried dry fish banned in Mikasa. Same thing here. The dried fish and the bagaong especially. I mean, bagaong was pretty much banned altogether, but they violate the rules. But you saw last week's video, they did cook the bagaong, but they were outside. They were outside on the carport, back corner of the house. And cooking that bagaong, it still fumigated the whole carport. I stayed and filmed as long as I could, and then I had to get the heck out of there. When they bring it in the house, they keep it in that some type of sealed container. They have to. I just can't deal with it. They took my Choco Mucho or whatever it was, double Choco plastic container I was going to reuse for sugar. They put it in there. You can't use that thing again. But at least the lid on there kept the bagaong from affecting me, and except for every time they opened it. For me, cooking bagaong is just not a smell that I'm prepared to deal with. Yeah, my live streams are like cyclone, typhoon repellents. And again, I'm okay with that. Because again, one of the reasons I like doing this is, you know, like I said yesterday, if you're in America and you're looking at this big storm, a super typhoon, close proximity to the PI, you're obviously worried about your loved ones. And you're reading the sensationalized reporting, and that's what you have to go by. Now, obviously, you call your relatives, right? But a lot of times when it starts raining or whatever, there's a brownout. People can't get in touch with their relatives, and people worry, which is obviously what you're gonna do. That's why I like doing them. Another reason is, hey, you got family here? Let me show you exactly what's going on. Right there. Right there. That's what's going on here. You can judge for yourself. And there's no reason there'd be a brownout right now, but you see what I mean. The reporting is very sensationalized, but this is current conditions on the ground here, at least in Zambales. Okay, so end of streaming on Instagram. Instagram gives me 1 hour of airtime, and that's it. And then you got to click in live video. And then again, for some reason I didn't connect all the dots on the Facebook. I'm not sure why that thing is not connecting. But we are still rocking live on Twitch. Man, no problems with Twitch. Twitch works perfect, no problem. I got issues with all other 3 platforms. Twitter, got to pay some money. Facebook, now it ain't working. Instagram gives me 1 hour. Not Twitch. Crystal clear video. I'm not sure about the audio. I'll have to check it. Okay, let's see. I don't know how they know this, but it said, big shout out to Fade to Black, transferred over from YouTube to give your Twitch channel some love. Oh, that's a comment. All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching from Twitch. It looks like we have 16 followers over there on Twitch. Make it 18. Thank you all very much. And again, everybody says it's a video gaming type platform. I don't know. I didn't know nothing about it. And I don't play video games these days. But I certainly appreciate the 18 followers over on Twitch. And again, it's a stable platform. It's absolutely stable where the other ones are not. That's my personal experience. Okay, so let's go around the horn in case people are just checking in with us. Let's go. Let me refresh my screen and make sure there's no updated bulletin. But we'll put the bulletin back up on the screen there. That's the latest, issued at 05 this morning, 9 July, which is Thursday. There's a new one to be issued at 11, so in a couple hours we'll get a new bulletin. But the main points are Inday has weakened into typhoon status, continues to move west by northwestward, and there's your graphic right there. Let me try to get it positioned perfectly. It tells you where the eye is going to be at what time and what date. Okay, the update is the highest wind signal they're now projecting is a signal 2. Yesterday I think it was 2 or 3, but now they're saying the highest to go up could be only as high as a signal 2. Okay, talks about the hazards affecting coastal waters. Up to very rough seas over the following coastal waters. Up to 6 meters, the seaboards of Batanes, northern and eastern seaboards of Babuyan Islands, and mainland Cagayan. And it goes on down. Again, if you're a tourist or island hopping or backpacking around, you know, the reason that you keep an eye on the weather here is because you're traveling by ferry most of the time from island to island, right? The bigger islands, yeah, you're flying into. But if you're backpacking around to the smaller islands, riding on the ferries, well, once the seas get to a certain point or wind speeds get to a certain point, they're going to stop the ferry traffic for your safety, which they should. And the ferries don't run, which means you're stuck on the island where you're at. And so it's just something you don't think about. You're on vacation, you're having a great time, you're drinking, you're not paying attention to the weather, You're going to go here, you're going to go there. Well, pay attention, because they do shut down the ferry traffic when the weather kicks up. And you may be spending an extra few days wherever you're at. Again, being Captain Obvious, but I used to really talk about if you're island hopping, you make sure you got, say, at no less than 10,000 pesos cash on you. Once you get down to 10,000, you go re-up it, right? I'd probably say 20 is safer if you've got enough to carry that much around. Because what happens? You get stuck on an island, here comes the storm, there's a brownout for a while. Well, the ATMs ain't gonna work. They're not getting resupplied. There's no electricity. You don't want to run out of cash when you're island hopping during inclement weather. It's being Captain Obvious. But back when I was just backpacking around, staying drunk, and I found myself in these situations, not paying attention. Okay, Jacob giving some info on the platform. Yeah, I don't know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it. I just did click, 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 and it worked, and it's continuing to work. Yeah, that's what they said. Twitch is a gaming platform. I didn't know. Okay, what do we got here? Shout out to Neil the Seal, the 1-ton elephant seal that's just taken over the Aussie town of 7 Mile Beach and laying in the middle of the road, blocking traffic after destroying all the road signs. I'll have to look that up. See, Bobby Martin, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is the Weathery Advisory number 11. I'll refresh the screen to ensure that it's still just number 11. Okay, so from Pagasa, heavy rainfall outlook due to Typhoon Inday. They've just got Batanes listed for Friday. Okay, it's going down. But you look at heavy rainfall due to the southwest monsoon. You have areas affected today and tomorrow and so forth. And again, we're in Zambales. So according to this chart, we're going to be looking at some heavy rainfall tomorrow due to the southwest monsoon, not necessarily due to Inday. That's how I interpret that chart. And again, I'm not a meteorologist, I'm not a weatherman, but I can read. And I'll just keep refreshing the screen, because again, I don't know if it updates itself as it moves or if you got to refresh the screen. But there you go right there. The link to this graphic, this site, is in the description. It's part of Pagasa. And as we were talking earlier, it's like a Philippine version of the Windy app. That's the way I look at it. It looks just like Windy. And speaking of Windy, let's just go over and look at some different perspectives of the storm. Okay. That's from Windy. That's from AccuWeather. That's from Zoom.Earth. But let me refresh the screen. Okay, again right here, northern coast of Luzon. So the eye is just pretty much due east of the northern portion of Luzon. The track that they're showing puts it just north of Taipei, Taiwan. So if you look at it from this perspective, it's still a pretty big storm, the outer bands. So you would make the assumption that these outer bands are basically, the outer portion here is going to come right over our heads. But that's speculating like Ron Burgundy. Again, that's the panahan.gov.ph. And then this is a Pegasus site. But basically the graphic here you can also see on this panahan.gov.ph. You just go down to satellite imagery. I think it's satellite imagery, or is it Doppler? No, it's satellite imagery, and then you can get that same perspective there. Just looking at different perspectives. And it shows the time up at top. I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically, that's updated up until 8:40, so it's pretty up to date. I think it looks like maybe a 30-minute lag time. So I'll leave that graphic up for a while. But again, from the same site, which is pretty much like a local version of Windy. Let's see, Big Daddy says, how disable would the PHB if it been a direct hit? Well, you know, Yolanda back in 2013, you know, pretty much devastated northern Cebu, Bantayan Island, you know, the old lady's village, went right over the top of her village basically. And yeah, I mean, it devastated that area up there. We from what I remember, it was about near Bogo City. Once you got up to Bogo City, it was like a line of destruction. Like everything was good, and you got to that line, and everything was just destruction north of there in Bantayan Island. So I'm just thankful the thing did not come straight this way. Again, it's a way of life here. It's a way of life. I mean, how do you explain it? It is a way of life. Every year, this place gets hit by typhoons, the occasional super typhoon. Wherever it hits, there's going to be flooding, landslides. I don't know how else to put it. It's a way of life. It's something you deal with, no different than living in Tornado Alley. There's tornadoes every year. Living in South Florida, you're dealing with hurricanes. Okay, so Kel's still talking about the local council and government trying to deal with that seal. I don't know anything about the story. I guess I'll have to look it up. Let's see, DeMarcus, how you doing? Put floaties on, make my show better. If it starts raining, I could put a life jacket on, but it's not even raining here. That's the problem. Well, it's not the problem. I think another point to doing these things is again, look, you can look at a graphic. You look at these graphics and you look at these satellite images, and you have one perception, and then I point a camera out the window, ain't nothing going on here. You know, there's nothing going on here so far. Now in 5 minutes it might be raining cats and dogs. But if I were to look at especially those satellite images, it looks like it should be raining cats and dogs right now, which it's clearly not. See, I'll put that back up there. And I guess when I put that back up there, I need to take that green box down. There we go. Technology. All right, go back to your comments. Alright, so Kel says Samar is getting rain, but no wind damage. Yeah, anytime you cook bagoong or dried fish, you got to cook outside. You got to. And also close up the windows to the house so the smell doesn't get into the house from the outside. Alright, let me go around the horn. I got 80 thumbs ups. I got 3 thumbs downs. Thank y'all very much for those 83 interactions there. Google Squirrels, they want to see a thumbs up. Boom, got 80 thumbs ups. I certainly appreciate that, my friends. Okay, again, looks like we're still broadcasting over on Twitch. I'm going to refresh the screen to see if I got any new followers. Nope, still holding at 18. Thank you very much. Show me, I don't know. I don't know how that stream chat works over there. Alright, looks like we got 90 folks watching from YouTube. And again, folks, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know how you like the layout of the graphics, the audio, my little picture-in-the-picture box, especially the audio. It's just the biggest challenge in this game. If you got crappy video, people will still watch as long as your audio is good. If your audio is not good, it don't matter what the video is, they can't stand it. Okay. Let me put my window back up there. That's looking out my window if you're just joining me. Get that box back up there. There you go. That's a live feed. So if you got family here anywhere near the Subic Bay area, that's our current weather conditions here near Subic Bay. We've got clouds rolling in. Winds are about 2 kilometers per hour. Not raining. The rain sprinkled enough for the old lady to go get her clothes off the line, but now it was a bad call. She should have left them out there. That's what's going on here at 9 in the morning, Thursday, July 9th, here in the Philippines. Yeah, I could switch over to the Strait of Hormuz, but I just got so tired of staring at that. Let's see, coming in loud and clear from Las Vegas, Nevada. Jeff, Dallas, Texas, checking in. Yeah, you're in the right place, my friend. Latest weather. That's what you're looking at out on the screen. Latest weather from Subic Bay. I mean, really, it's just a beautiful day. It's cloudy, but nice cool breeze coming through. No rain, and actually that light sprinkling of rain, hey, the rain cools down the roof, keeps it cooler in the crib, cools things off. So far, you know, the previous times we lived over here, it rains so much here. At least it did in our crib down in Barreto. During the rainy season, it was brutal. You got to buy rubber boots. You know, our street used to flood like a river for a few hours. Take a few hours for that thing to go down. But so far, since we've been here this time, it hasn't been too bad with the rain. We've got light rain, just enough to cool things off. You know, where we live's on a sort of an elevation, not dealing with any flooding. Don't need to buy rubber boots as of yet. Let's see, Ron, how you doing? Checking in from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Hope you're doing well there. Hope the weather's doing, you got beautiful weather there in Canada. Okay, back to the graphic here, folks, if you're just joining us. The storm, the eye of the storm is pretty much, I just say due east up to Guégarau, northern Luzon area. We'll change the graphic and go back to, and all you got to do is refresh the screen on that Panahan, and it defaults, at least mine does, it defaults back to sort of looks like the Windy app. So again, the links to all of this information and all these sites that I'm referencing, there's 3 links down in the description. One of them is to this graphic that you see up on the screen, and it's part of Pagasa. And the other 2 links in the description is for the bulletins, and they keep getting updated. The next update should be 11 a.m. So if you just want to cut through all like the fluff and the spin and get down to the meat and potatoes of what they're putting out, I think for me that's the 3 links I'm going to go with and reference from now on. Okay, I'm getting this feed from Pagasa, however they're piping it in, but it's what they're putting out, so I can see it. I go to the second link talking about the typhoon itself, and then the third link is the weather advisory about the rainfall. I'm good to go. I'll be my own weatherman, as I'm clearly doing right now. Let's see, Michael asked, do I use OBS for live streams? No, I don't. I was talking yesterday, I tried to use that, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get it to work. I went to another one, I don't know how many I tried, and I couldn't get them to work. I finally landed on a software called Ecamm Live, and I figured out how to get it working. It's pretty user friendly once you learn it, just a quick learning curve. I got it up and running. It does exactly what I want it to do. It's stable. They keep updating the software, and so I know everybody else uses OBS apparently, and I think that's free. I'm not sure. I don't know. All I know is I used several of them. I couldn't get them to work, and I recommend Ecamm Live. Yeah, you got to pay a subscription every month, but you get what you pay for. So I'm using ATEM Live with a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro switcher, which has 4 inputs. So I got one, what you're seeing up on the screen is coming from a second MacBook Pro. So I just pipe the computer in as a camera. So whatever is on the screen of the MacBook Pro is what you're seeing there. The switcher's handling the picture in the picture, and then I've got 3 other cameras set up. This camera here, that's staring at me now. I've got an FX3 there, and then looking out the window here, that's from my old Sony camcorder. It's a FDR AX100. It's a champion. It's been a champion. I'm talking about one of the best cameras I've ever had right there. And then if you want to take a look to see what's going on with the goats, that's an old Sony RX100 Mark V. And I think what I need to do is change the cameras, because the background, the highlights are so bright you can't see that cow. There's a light colored cow. You can only see his tail because it's got some dark on the end of it. But it's just another perspective to tell the wind speed and everything like that. But that's what I got going on. I got I got 4 ports on the switcher, so I got 3 cameras and I got 1 laptop piping in there with a combination of Ecamm Live and just an ATEM Mini Pro by Blackmagic, which I've had for years. I've had it for years, and really up until recently I finally figured out really how to use it, make it do all the tricks I need it to do. Those are the effects of not drinking. When you're drinking, there's one side of you, and then you stop drinking, and then you figure out how to use all the technical equipment. Okay, what category will this storm be when it hits Taiwan? That's a good question. I don't know if they put that out, but looking at what the graphic says, the T is for typhoon, I do believe. So if you look at this, it'll still be typhoon status once it gets up to Taiwan. I think that's accurate. Okay, because let me pull this back up. Well, I can tell you right here. See, that's what this graphic right here tells us. Okay, there's your okay, see, so it was a super typhoon, that little symbol there, and then once it gets to T, it's a typhoon. So according to this graphic, it will still be at typhoon strength once it gets over Taipei, because it would be indicated with an S if it was downgraded to a tropical storm, a D for tropical depression, L for a low pressure area, and then you've got that symbol for severe tropical storm. And I guess I could pull up what the wind speeds are. I need to pull up a graph that shows what the wind speeds are for all of these categories. But I guess the answer to your question, according to this graphic, is that it will still be typhoon status once it hits Taiwan. And that's just me interpreting what Pagasa's graphic indicates. Again, I'm not a meteorologist. Don't plan your safety plans on any part of this. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. So look at the symbol. The symbol changes once it hits mainland China, which will be downgraded to a severe tropical storm. So yeah, all that makes sense. So there's the answer to our questions in that graphic. And folks, if anybody interprets what I'm saying different from these graphics, feel free to speak up. I think I had a couple of y'all in the chat yesterday that were, I don't know if you were a meteorologist or you had studied it and clarified some stuff for us. And see, this one here still has it with the T for typhoon, but well, yeah, there you go, same graphic. So we just saw the same graphic. That little graphic there, that little symbol, I should say, that symbol is severe tropical storm. So it's obviously going to be weakening, but when it gets to Taiwan, still a typhoon, probably the lower end of the typhoon category, and then severe tropical storm. Okay, let me pull this. Okay, so Pro Media Consultant says you still have a good chance for plenty of rain in the next 24 hours. The Philippines are going to be on the dirty side of the typhoon rotation. Yeah, and that lines up with exactly what's coming from Pagasa. So if you're just joining us, here's the latest weather advisory. There'll be a new one issued probably around 11, but that's the rainfall forecast. So tomorrow being Friday, Batanes is going to be getting a lot of rain from the typhoon, but then when you go down here and they credit this amount of rain to the monsoon, then there we are right there where I'm sitting on Zambales, and tomorrow being Friday. Okay, so again, if you're looking for this source material straight from Pagasa, the links are down in the description. And this is from the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. Okay, a lot of words there. They call it Pagasa. And it's the local source, the local government agency. And again, this website that you're seeing on the screen, it comes from them. They produce it, and it's like a localized version of the Windy app. I guess that's the best way I could explain it. I don't know how else I would explain it, but it's pretty cool. So being that I'm sitting here in the Philippines, you know, why would I go to any other source? They're focusing on the Philippines. Their technology is up to speed. Seems to be just like the Windy app, which a lot of folks use. Let's see, it'd be sucking air in from the South China Sea, and that's what will be flying over your head. Yeah, that's what it looks like. How do I know that? Because it shows where the wind's traveling, right? Too cool. See, Kel's reporting a little bit of movement in the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, the Philippines dodged a major weather hit. Yeah, I think so too. Because if that thing would have driven just straight westward, we'd been dealing. Well, I guess it probably would have downgraded. I mean, you make the assumption it would have still been typhoon status instead of super typhoon status. But yeah, we get enough typhoons here in the Philippines. We don't need any more. Anyone that can go north or south or peter out before it gets here, that's the outcome that we need. There's enough damage here every year from these storms. Anyone that can go north is good for the country. See, lanes away, checking in from Southwest Florida. Thank you very much for tuning in. Alright, Jeff says all clear and 94 degrees here at the Gates of Hell, Texas. I don't know, I guess I can pull it up here. I'm not sure what their exact temperature is here on Subic Bay. But, I'm sitting here now. I don't need my hat anymore. The sun has went up enough where it's not shining on me now. But I'm telling you right now, it is nice and cool. It is nice and cool. I got the windows open. That cool breeze coming through here. It's just gorgeous. It's just nice and cool, like free air conditioning. I got no complaints. But again, tomorrow morning at this time, possibly going to be raining cats and dogs. Now, I'll just talk about this now. We got a tin roof. Most of the neighbors got tin roofs. And if it starts raining like half a click that way, you can hear it. You don't got to look out the window, you can hear it. you can hear the raindrops hitting these tin roofs, and it gets loud. So you don't even need to be looking in that direction or whatever. You're going to hear it before you even know to look and see it. So I'm going to go live tomorrow morning, or if it gets raining cats and dogs, I'll go live sooner. But the audio is going to be a challenge because it's going to be loud. It's going to be loud from the raindrops hitting this roof, the neighbor's roof, the carport. I'll just tell you right now, if I go live once it starts raining, when I go live, as long as the power is not down, the audio is not going to be great because of the tin roofs being impacted by raindrops. So I know somebody will complain, audio sucks. Well, what can I do? What can I do? So one thing you learn, you're trying to do this game, you're trying to get the best audio, but if it's raining, it just destroys your audio. Okay, let's see. Jerry says, this makes me wonder why people retire in the Philippines. It's typhoon prone, third world infrastructure, and rugged islands is a toxic combination. Okay, well, wherever you're planning on retiring, whether it's here or Central America or Thailand, whatever country you're going to, I talked about this yesterday. The weather patterns are a factor. Take a look at, if you went somewhere and it was beautiful and sunny for a week and now you want to move there, do a little bit of research on the weather patterns and figure out if that's what you want to deal with. I live down in South Florida. Absolutely loved living down there. Every day I had this outdoor active lifestyle. I would basically do a triathlon every day, every morning. When I got off work at 6:30, 7 in the morning, when I worked the night shift, went to Fort Lauderdale Beach. I would run up and down the beach. I would go for a swim. Then I went to the crib, got on my bicycle. I biked to the farthest pool. I went swimming again. I biked back. I had this wonderful lifestyle. Love it down there. My off days, I was on the one muff diver, catching mahi, over in the Gulf Stream. But that last summer I lived there, we had back-to-back hurricanes. And I talked about it yesterday, but maybe everybody wasn't here. When the hurricane's coming, according to insurance regulations, you had to put up your hurricane shutters, right? Big old pieces of corrugated steel go on there with wing nuts. Took me all day to get them things up. Hurricane goes over. Now the homeowners association gives you 24 or 48 hours to take them down because they're an eyesore. Now you spend fucking hours taking them things down. Here come another hurricane. So that last summer, it was balikbayan on the hurricane shutters. And I'm like, damn, do I really want to deal with this every year? Now look, you can hire people. Now they make them, you just pull them like this or whatever. But ours weren't like that. Physically had to put them up in the track, put them on the bolts, wing nuts, manual labor. So that last summer I was there, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to live down here. I got to get a condo or something where I don't got to put up these shutters. So the point is, everywhere you go that has these types of weather patterns, you got to ask yourself, do I really want to deal with it? It's a good question. You come to the Philippines, you're going to deal with typhoons during typhoon season. You're going to deal with rain during the rainy season. Okay? So it is a question you want to ask yourself. And then it's also about where you live inside the country. Angeles City, no big deal. It's going to rain on your head. No destruction for the most part, right? Over here on Subic, Like my buddy Kevin said yesterday, been here 15 years, they always go north. You're just not affected over here versus being down in Big Pumpkin's village, that takes a lot more damage and a lot more brutality from the storms. So even within the country, where do you want to live? Angeles City or Subic? Just rain, in my personal experience. So it is a good question. Wherever you're thinking about retiring, look at the weather patterns, not just what the weather was when you were on vacation, laid up on the beach, staying drunk for a week. What's the other things you deal with here living in the Philippines, especially recently over the past year? Earthquakes. Okay, if you're not prepared to deal with that possibility, maybe you want to choose somewhere else that's not earthquake prone. Got volcanoes here. You got that possibility too. You got to make an informed decision. Do I want to deal with any of those issues? And if the answer is no, well, you pick another place. Pattaya, Thailand is where I call home. Weather over there is beautiful. Don't deal with earthquakes. I know there was one up affected Bangkok, but for the most part, you don't deal with all this stuff. There's a rainy season. It'll dump a ton of rain. The low-lying areas and the streets will flood a little bit. A few hours later, it goes down. It's not a big deal. Same as here. Not a huge deal. So it's all things that you have to think about for your retirement versus just worrying about your 401k. It's no different than saying, okay, I'm going to move to northern Montana. That's where I'm going to retire. But do you really want to deal with the snow, the wind, and the ice? It's all personal preference where you're gonna live. San Diego, beautiful weather. Love to retire there. Too expensive. So, good question. Do you want to come here, make this where you retire? I'm not trying to sugarcoat things. Yep, typhoons every year. Yep, earthquakes. Yep, the occasional volcano acting up. Landslides in certain areas. All good things to think about. Let's see, Michael, how you doing? Mike checking in at Tennessee. Hey, Michael, thinking about going live? Yeah, why not, man? Life is short. Fire you up a live stream and see what happens. No time like the present. Don't think about it. Don't sit there and overanalyze it. Get analysis paralysis. Just push that go live button. Let's see, Michael says, I live here because I can afford oceanfront property without breaking the bank. Plus, it never snows, always a plus. There you go. You don't want to deal with typhoons or earthquakes. Okay, go to Montana. Deal with wind, snow, and ice. It's all give and take, right? Klinsky, how you doing, my friend? Want to know how's the multi-angle views? Let me give you a tour. I'll show you the current weather conditions here. Here in the mountains, overlooking the beautiful Subic Bay. See, it looks like wind conditions are maybe 1 kilometer per hour sustained. Got clouds rolling in, 0 on the rainfall right now. And that camera is facing northeast. Let me put it up there. See, I made a little special box for it. Facing northeast right there. So it's sort of facing in the direction it's in that camera is facing sort of in the direction of the Typhoon. I think it's like about a 35-degree angle. So it'd be the northern, I mean, obviously you can't see. I'm just telling you which direction it's facing. It's facing like the northern leading edge of the Typhoon, that direction. It's facing in the direction of Tegegarau, as the crow flies. And then let's see, I'll give you the second angle here. If we want to take a look at what the cows and the goats are doing. And again, it's sort of, it's too bright in the background. The highlights are blown out, as we say. You can't see that cow way over there. She's a light colored cow. But as you can see, not much on the winds. Not much on the winds at all. Those are your current conditions here. I gotta figure out a way to make that box automatically disappear. I have to dig into that. But there you go. That's the current position of the storm. According to their time, there's like a 30-minute lag time if you put it into motion. Still on the projected track to go just north of Taipei, Taiwan. So the eye is going to totally bypass and miss the Philippines by quite some distance, but like at one point the tropical storm level winds were like 800 kilometers away from the eye. I think that's been downgraded. Time to make me a drink. Big Pumpkin was a good pumpkin this morning. Brought me a big thing of ice from a wine glass so I can make my own drink. Shout out to you, baby. She's watching in the next room over there, watching the boy. Got a few roosters in the background. Not too many. I got enough roosters here to let you know I'm in the Philippines, to let me know what time to wake up, but not 30 roosters outside my window like at Flo's house, like we've had before living down in Subic. All right, nice RC Cola. Get these big RC Colas from the Sorry store. I think Big Pumpkin put it in the chat. I think they're 35 pesos for the big ones. What is this? The 1 liter? Is that a 1 liter? I don't know. They're 7.50. I think it's 35 pesos for these. A regular small bottle of Coke here in US money, it's a quarter. 25 cents for a nice cold Coke in a bottle. Now obviously you got to return the bottle. 25 cents for a nice cold Coke. I think that's 35, maybe it's 40. Big Pumpkin, if you're listening, then put the exact cost of this RC. Let's see, Rokon checking in from Montana. Lane's Way says you wouldn't like South Florida these days. Nothing like the good old days. People are crammed in like cockroaches and still coming. Northern transplants. Yeah, I mean, it was over 20 years ago when I was there. I had a great time. I loved it. I wouldn't change it. But it was crowded. They were still building. It was getting more crowded. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you can never go home again. But I had a great time in South Florida. Just very active lifestyle, being on the boat, fishing, being on the beach, going to Mangoes. I mean, I had a great time there between South Florida, being in the Keys. It was a wonderful, wonderful ride. But yeah, I'm sure it's not the same, nowhere near the same. Probably if you were to go there now, you probably need to make about $3 million a year. There's no telling. Let's see. BL Messenger. This is better than TV Patrol. Lou from Florida. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I see roosters. Flo sees pizzas. Pretty much what it was. Every time she wanted to go out and eat pizza or eat Jollibee, she'd just go sell one of John John's roosters. Then the dude comes home with this, look of despair on his face. It was, for her, it was the thrill of victory. For him, it was the agony of defeat. And she had no qualms about it. Like, why'd you sell the man's rooster? I want to go to Jollibee. Yeah, but he's raised that rooster and trained it and done whatever he's done with the rooster. So I want to go to Albert's or Alberto's, get a pizza. I see G-Man checking in from Atlanta, Georgia. All right, folks. I'll get back on topic here for anybody who's just joining me. Got 105 folks watching now. Thank you very much for tuning in here on the old YouTube. Super Typhoon Bobby, that was the international name. Once it entered the Philippines area of responsibility, it was given the name Inday. Has now been downgraded to Typhoon Inday. So Typhoon Inday is still on the projected path to head north of Taipei. So here in the Philippines, it means the eye is going to bypass the Philippines altogether. It's a big storm. Still got a lot of outer bands that have the potential of affecting the PI. So let me come over, put the bulletins back up. If you're just joining us, okay, there's Pagasa's site. That's the latest, issued at 05 this morning. And you can see the path of the storm. The T stands for typhoon status. So according to this graphic, it's going to maintain the typhoon status. Once it passes over Taiwan, sometime around when it hits the Chinese mainland, it'll be downgraded to a severe tropical storm. Okay, the links to all of this source material is down in the description. And then we'll come over one more to the weather advisory, and it talks about the rainfall, and it splits it up to, the rainfall is due to the cyclone there, and then the rainfall due to the southwest monsoon. Zimbalist is in the tomorrow category. That's where I'm sitting right now. So my guess is by tomorrow it's going to be raining cats and dogs, and probably the kids won't have school, if I had to guess. I'm not the decision maker on that, but I'm just an old single dad trying to figure out, are the kids going to have school tomorrow? Well, it's going to be heavy rainfall due to that southwest monsoon. Probably not. But that call has not been made yet. As of today here on Subic Bay, it's life as usual. Here's your current weather outlook here in the mountains next to Subic Bay. No rainfall, light winds, but clouds are moving in. And we had a 2-minute shower, light sprinkling of rain a few 30 minutes ago. Okay, back to your comments. Lanes Away says 100,000 a year. Miami goes nowhere. Yeah, that's the problem. But when I was there 20 something years ago, it was just a wonderful place to be. Just a wonderful place to be. The food scene, the beach scene, South Beach, the Keys. Just what a wonderful lifestyle. Maybe one day I'll go back there and visit. Or just maybe I don't. Maybe I just keep those memories locked in as they are and not skew the memories of Miami. You know, not that I hung out on South Beach too much or I didn't hang out at Mango's, but every time somebody came to town, I had a routine down there, you know, playing tour guide. You know, spots in Fort Lauderdale, the spots down in Miami, spots in the Keys. And every time somebody came into town, I was making those rounds. I was there quite frequently, but not because I was hanging out there by myself. My lifestyle in South Florida was basically a triathlon every morning. Then on the weekends, I was on the boat fishing. Let's see, Jerry says developers have too much free reign in Miami and no taste in architecture. There's been, I saw some thumbnails on some videos where people were talking about that. They just had a comparison of like the architecture. The gist was how buildings used to be beautiful and now they're just ugly. Everything from like a lamppost, what it used to look like, to nowadays. Like everything went from being beautiful and like a work of art in everyday life to now it's just ugly. From lampposts to buildings. So the question is, what happened? I see Loopy 6'4" checking in from Manila. Hope you're doing well. If you could give us some type of weather report from where you're at in Manila, that would be appreciated. I gotta put my sign up there because if somebody just checks in, they don't know where I'm at. I gotta keep that sign up when I've got this camera. Yeah, probably just better to keep the memories as is. Boom! Klinsky coming off the top ropes of the octagon. Thank you very much, my friend. Let me see if I can add that to broadcast and see if we're in business. Boom! Look at that. It just came down perfectly. Took a half-day vacation just to keep up on mowing. You have it figured out. Bless you and the family. Thank you very much. That's life in America. Sometimes you got to take a day off or a half day off work just to get the mowing done around the house. You know, I've said many times, I hope to never again have to mow a blade of grass. I mean, I love grass. I love walking on grass. I like looking out into that cow pasture now that it's been raining and seeing that green grass out there. It's beautiful. But that lifestyle in America of cutting grass and weed eating every weekend, and I'd try to go 2 weeks, you know, do it every 2 weeks, and the homeowners association would get on your ass about it. I hope to never ever have to mow a blade of grass or weed eat a blade of grass ever again. I'm not scared of manual labor, but that's just something that I don't want to do. If the grass is growing up, throw a goat in there, you know, throw some sheep in there, throw a cow in there. I'm not dealing with no lawnmower mowing grass. The same way I don't want to shovel snow. There's a lot more things I'd rather be doing. So yeah, man, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Used to be in the same situation. And the bigger your place, the more land you got, the more work you're doing just to keep the damn grass mowed. And I sit here reflecting back. You know, even if you have 5 acres of land, I had 5 acres of land one time, constantly mowing, constantly working on the damn riding mower, constantly working on the push mower, constantly fixing fences. For what? Let's see. Alabaster Smidge, how you doing? Yeah, back to that story when I had that little place out in the country, I was constantly working. Then I moved back to the suburbs, where my yard was like, you know, this big. I was like, suddenly I had all the time in the world. It was like, wow. So there's pros and cons to having like homesteads, right? Everybody wants to have a homestead now. But living on any type of farm, you're working from 4 in the morning to midnight just to keep the place maintained. That's what I was doing. Had horses and all kind of animals. Then moved back to the suburbs. All of a sudden, my time was freed up. No more horses to deal with, no more fences to mend. Suddenly I didn't have to work from 4 a.m. to midnight every day. See Brian checking in from Trinidad. Thank you very much for tuning in, my friend. And G-Man says back in 2013 was in Tacloban when Yolanda hit. It was bad. Yeah, I was in Cebu City when Yolanda hit. Of course, me and my buddy spent the night at a bar. Wasn't no big deal in Cebu City, just a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind. But once you got up to Bogo City, that's when the destruction began. And obviously Tacloban took the brunt from the storm surge. So yeah, 2013 was rough. And of course the old lady, her village up there, it basically went right over the top of her village as well. And you know, wasn't nothing but broken bamboo everywhere. So she rode that thing out there in the village. It was just chaos, panic. But what can you do? They rode it out, just like everybody else up there did. But yeah, I think from my memory, Tacloban had it the worst due to the storm surge. Right, put the graphic back up there. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Typhoon Inday. The international name is Bobby, but it's been downgraded from Super Typhoon Inday to Typhoon Inday. There we go, right there. And again, all the links to this source information is down in the description. So if you want to see this graphic, it's put out by Pagasa, this site, this app, what have you. It's pretty much like a localized version of Windy. That's the best way I can describe it. So definitely go down to the description, click the links. You'll see the same thing I'm seeing. Spent most of my 20s and 30s Iraq, Afghanistan. Now I spend my 40s answering to a kid at work that thinks he's my boss and mowing all this crap so that my neighbors don't cry. Welcome to America. Yep. You know, talking about living down in South Florida, that was one of the things that was such a double-edged sword, was the homeowners associations living down there. Not everywhere, but my neighborhood had a very strong homeowners association. And you realize when you go into the neighborhood, everything is dress right dress. Okay, which you love and appreciate. But it was like the brutality of how they enforced that. They didn't give you enough time or have any concern for your feelings or whether or not you had the money to do these things when they come around. I mean, they would come around and leave a notice. Hey, your mailbox is too light. It's a shade too light. You got 24 hours or 48 hours to paint it. Okay, my mailbox, no big deal. Run up to the hardware store or wherever. You can paint your mailbox on your own. Problem solved. But when they would come around and say the paint on your house is a shade too light, out of regulation, you've got 5 days to paint your house. What average person can just throw down thousands of dollars and get a house painted in 5 days? But that was some of the stuff that went on. A little bit of background noise. Got the Pandasaw guy coming by. For example, the townhouses had like asphalt driveways. Oh, your driveway looks a little shade too light. You got to put that what's it called? Not redo the whole thing, but you had to put that top coat on there. It's like tar, like looks like a sludge, right? Just roll it on with a roller and let it dry. They give you 48 hours to fix it, and if not, they would send their own contractors there to do it, and then send you the bill. So that was the one thing I didn't like, was the homeowners associations. Although all the neighborhoods did look dress right dressed, just the way they had zero understanding for people, or do they have the money to do this? Do they have the money? Give them some more time. No, it was too rigid. All right, so Michael says just got back from Panama City, Florida. Love that place. What was it, my last trip or the trip before last, whenever? Tried to go down there to Pineapple Willie's. Or was that 2020? I can't remember. Anyhow, Pineapple Willie's. Maybe I went down there both trips. And it was so packed I couldn't get in there. I ended up going to, what's the other one? Man, I'll have to go back and look at my own videos. Went over towards Destin, or is it Miramar? The Crab Shack, right on the beach. It's not Joe's Crab Shack. I'll think of it in a minute. But I was trying to go to Pineapple Willie's. You couldn't get in there. Ended up heading west over towards Destin, and I got a seat. Pompano Joe's. That's it, Pompano Joe's. Anybody who's down there, I got the Pompano Joe's, and it was so packed out, but there was one seat at the bar. So it was a table of one. It was just me, so I got to sit at the bar. Other than that, there's no way you would have got in there. It was just too crowded. Yeah, see, our HOA fees take care of the pressure washing, mowing, mailbox painting, house painting, etc. Now, ours didn't. We had some reasonable HOA fees for living in South Florida at the time. We had like 4 pools in the neighborhood. It was reasonable, but they were very unreasonable when you needed something done. I mean, the one story I remember was this one of the neighbors, Jamaican guy, painted his house, but there were only like 5 shades of paint that were authorized. Exact. He goes out, gets his house painted, but the shade was a little bit too on the pink side. And when you drove by, you could tell it didn't look like the others. It came out too hot pink. You know, it's supposed to be more of a tan, like a more earth color. Somehow or another, his shit came out too pink. They sent him a notice. Hey man, you got 48 hours to correct this. Well, he got on a flight down to Jamaica. Like, I deal with it when I got back. By the time he got back, the homeowners association had sent contractors over there to paint his house. He had the bill in the mailbox. And it's a lot more than if you went and paid your own people. So they don't play. And I assume if you don't pay the bill, they just put a lien on your property. Anyhow, who wants to live like that? I don't want to live like that. Let's see. XXLN Animate, how you doing? Listening from Long Island, New York. Thanks for checking in, my friend. Hope y'all got some good weather up there. Alright, let's get back to the weather report here. It's 10 o'clock, so I got about 1 hour before the next weather bulletins are published by Pagasa here in the Philippines. So I'll start out by refreshing our screen. Make sure we're looking at the current location according to this app. That's the projected path. We'll pull her down just a little bit here. Again, gonna go just north of Taipei, Taiwan. Still right at typhoon strength, and then as it hits mainland China, it gets downgraded to severe tropical storm. Now let's just take a look at the other graphics just to see how they look. This is windy. Let me refresh. That's windy.com. So a little bit different perspective. We'll refresh the screen here. This is from, what's the name of this? Oh, I've got to put my old man glasses on. Can't see that little. This is from zoom.earth. I'm not sure where they're taking their model from, but again, all the models you look at is within a few degrees of heading just north of Taipei. So if you look at the outer bands from north to south, it's a big storm. North to south, the size of the storm is about the size of the Philippines, somewhere in there. And then we'll refresh and see if they've put out a new bulletin. That one was issued at 05, and now about 1 hour we'll get the next bulletin. We'll scroll down here and look at the movement. It's headed west by northwest, 20 kilometers per hour. Maximum sustained winds 175 kilometers per hour near the center. Gusts up to 215. So it is down a little, and again it's been downgraded to typhoon status. All right, and the next one is the weather advisory, which pretty much just deals with the projected rainfall. Weather advisory 11. So the top of the chart is what they're predicting due to the typhoon. So tomorrow, Batanes. But if we scroll down, this is the rain projected due to the southwest monsoon, the Habagat. So tomorrow, which is Friday, there you see Zambales. That's where I'm sitting. So it looks like we're going to get heavy rainfall, 50 to 100 millimeters tomorrow. Okay, there we go. So tomorrow and Saturday. So again, what's my takeaway as a old single dad with kids in school? they're in school today, no problem, no issues today, but a probably 50-50 chance they may not have school tomorrow. I'm not the one who makes that decision, but I would, if I had kids in school, I would keep an eye on this because there's a possibility that they may cancel school due to the heavy rain. I got no problem with them going to school during the rain. Personally, I don't. Okay, it's raining, you can go to school. What's the difference? You're sitting here or sitting in the schoolhouse learning. I'd rather just go to school, but I don't make that call. Again, how did we ever survive the 80s and the way we did business back in the 80s? Back in the 80s, if you were sick, go to school. You know what I mean? It's raining, walk to school in the rain. Put your raincoat on. There we go, right there. Get the right angle on the dangle. Yeah, I like that graphic right there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, when you live in an HOA, you have rules. Yeah, too many rules for me. I got called out one time, and this wasn't down in South Florida. This was actually in Georgia, and they were pretty reasonable. But they came by and told me I had, what's it called, crabgrass growing in my lawn. I need to get it treated. Like, nope, ain't gonna happen. Went full Matlock on them, you know, responded with some legalese, like a 3-page list of questions. I wanted to know the observer's qualifications for identifying crabgrass, at what time he observed the crabgrass. I think about 3 pages of questions. I wanted to know, was this a person an expert on identifying weeds? And I fought him on it. I was not going to just have somebody drive by and say, oh, you need to call whatever it is, Kimlon or whoever, treat your grass and spend my money. Nope. Okay? It's not going to happen. I mow the grass every week, whether it needs it or not. I weed eat. That's all I'm going to do. You saw a weed? Yeah, let's do battle, because I ain't paying. Not paying you, not paying the fine, not calling Kimlon. You're not spending $200 worth of my money. Ain't going to happen. I fought him. And then, you know, you're entitled to sort of like a hearing or whatever with the HOA people, whatever. Let's go. Let's go. I'll argue this fucking crabgrass issue till the end of time. You ain't getting none of my money. And they eventually saw things my way. Whoa, I'm hearing rain, folks. Breaking news. Breaking news. Looks like we got a little rainfall coming in here in the mountains overlooking the beautiful Subic Bay. Here comes the rain. Let me put my little thing back up there. I don't know if y'all can hear that rain in the background, but there we go right there. We do have some rain. All right. Maybe I need to bump the ND up one. Yeah, and you can hear Big Pumpkins shouting, "It's raining now." Boom, under the dogwood. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, she needs a new umbrella. She just got a new umbrella somewhere. Umbrellas don't last long around Big Pumpkin for some reason, because she's too rough on the thing. I'm like, baby, gentle with the umbrella, slowly. Thank you very much, my friend. I hope y'all are doing well. And folks, just as the rain showed up, the rain has already left the building. Now I don't do HOAs no more. It's just, I mean, who wants to live like that? It's just too unreasonable. people, it's like that power. They just get drunk with that power of being able to just scratch something out and cost you $500 or $5,000. Okay, so again, just as the rains showed up, the rains have left the building. Okay, just a second. I'm going to bump the ND down to try to lighten up this picture here, since it's not as bright out. Stand by 1 second. Okay, so bump the ND down, and what an ND filter does, like the clouds are very light, and now the trees are sort of dark. Now this old camera doesn't, it's not great on dynamic range showing both, but if I keep the ND filter up, ND filter is like sunglasses for the camera. You can see the details in the clouds, and you can see the clouds moving, but you can sort of only see the silhouette of the trees. So if I wanted to see more of the trees, I turn the ND filter down, but then the clouds sort of get blown out, the highlights sort of get blown out. So you can see the outline of the trees moving, and good detail on the clouds. I like that perspective there. You can let me know what you think. Yeah, Subic Bay is the perfect port. Well, sort of the same with Manila Bay, because Subic Bay, you've got Grande Island right there in the middle. And let me get this straight, during World War II, there was a coastal artillery battery stationed there. And then, Manila Bay, you've got Corregidor. So yeah, they're both perfect ports. They're perfectly set up. And again, like my buddy Kevin said, he lived here for 15 years. Most of the storms go north. They never really impact this area. So, another good reason to live in this area on this side of Luzon. Now, over the past few decades, when Mount Pinatubo blew back in '91, well, obviously impacted this area significantly. As long as that thing don't cook off again, pretty safe area to live right here. Until something breaks bad with the Chinese. Yeah, the FX3 has excellent dynamic range, but the FX3 is what you're looking at me on here, and all I have is a prime lens. So that old Sony camcorder does better for like what I'm trying to do with it, looking out the window like that. It's got a zoom on it from it's a camcorder. It's got the built-in lens, but it's like for 28 millimeter, like was it 135 or something like that? Anyhow, champion of a camera. If I were going, if a UFO appeared right now, would I grab an FX3 or that old camcorder? I'd grab the old camcorder. If I had to go film on the front line somewhere, would I take an FX3 or that old camcorder? I would take that old camcorder. Alright, so a little bit of wind picking up after a short, brief sprinkling of rain here on Subic Bay. I welcome it though, because I'm like I said, I'm cool as a cucumber, sitting here in the studio. Don't need no air conditioner. Well, don't have one anyhow, but I don't need one. It's just nice and cool. I see you hear it hitting the tin roof before it even shows up. You can hear that rain way before it shows up. So the rain has come back just a little bit. Hey, baby. Got any coffee? Well, I coffee? Well, if you got coffee, I'll take a cup of coffee. 'Cause I'm out of RC. I'm out of RC. Voila, RC. Hey, can I get some coffee or not? So, folks, the rain has shown up a little bit, and I may have to get up. Bear with me just a minute. I got to make sure everything's battened down here, and my outdoor camera is not getting wet. So, give me just a second. Matter of fact, I'm going to take about a 3-minute break. I will be right back. Okay, folks, I'm back. Okay, had to take a short break. Thank y'all for joining me. Thanks for staying with me. Here we go, looking at a live feed. Looking out my window here in the mountains. Big Pumpkin, come over here, big girl. Right here, girl. Big Pumpkin coming there. Baby, did you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, all right, Big Pumpkin making a cameo appearance here on the show. Brought me a cup of coffee. Well, when you say coffee, it's what they call 3-in-1. It's a mix. It's best way I describe it. It's like hot chocolate with a different flavor. But that's your morning coffee here in the PI, called 3-in-1. Better than nothing, but I gotta get me some coffee for the coffee maker. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we're discussing Typhoon Inday. It was Super Typhoon Inday, but it's been downgraded to typhoon status. You're looking out my window facing northeast, I think around 35 degrees for anybody who's wondering. But we're just off of Subic Bay. We've had a few sprinklings of rain this morning. That's your ground truth weather conditions here on Subic Bay. I do have another camera angle here. We can check, see what's going on in this direction. As you can see, the winds have picked up a little bit, and I don't see any of the cows and the goats in the background. But you need what? Baby, your rice bucket. Baby, I got
little bit long.
Baby, listen, I'm in the middle of an award-winning weather show here. You see the weather report going on? This is serious business. Okay, just wait. Man, don't knock my mouse over if you clicking this dang old computer and have problems. Look, baby. So I've got her rice bucket here, using it as a table. And so in the middle of my live stream, she got to come in here and get rice. Now, why didn't you get the rice before I started my weather report? Here, let me show them what you got. See? She got to come in here with the rice cooker and get rice off of my table.
Oh, why are you using my rice though?
Because it's the perfect height. But next time, get the rice before the award-winning travel show. My gosh. Anyhow, couple of buckets of rice is perfect to set my mouse on. Well, 2 would be mice. So y'all don't have to look at them up here. Clean up my workstation. Okay. Okay, so as quickly as the rain showed up, it's left the building again. You got sun over there on the mountains. But that's what I'm looking at right there. Yes, rice is life. Rice is definitely life here in the Philippines. You know, we all eat rice all around the world, right? But rice here is life. Yeah, you got to have some coffee. Got to have some coffee, even if it is the 3-in-1. It's really not coffee. There's nothing to do with coffee. It's like hot chocolate with a modified flavor. Let's see, Paulie, how you doing? I looked into the Ecamm program made only for Mac systems. You know what? I think that it is. But I'm an Apple guy. I made the switch over to Macs, I guess back in I don't know, 06, 07, somewhere in there. I don't even know how to turn on a PC. I know nothing about Windows or a PC, and I'm glad I don't. If you ever swap over to a Mac and learn the language, you'll never go back. I'll be honest with you, when I haven't messed around with an Apple computer since the Apple IIe back in the 80s. When I first got that Mac, it was what do they call that? The iMac. Beautiful computer. But when I first got it, I struggled to learn how to use it, to the point that I sort of abandoned it and went back to working on my Toughbook. Then I finally started picking it back up, and then once you learn how to use a Mac, you'll never go back to a PC. It's just junk. So yeah, I'm an Apple guy. So if you're on Apple and you want to know the software that I use here, it's called Ecamm Live. Works perfect on these Macs. They upgrade the software. Damn, I should get an affiliate link. I'm sitting here selling the product for free, but it is a great product. And I use a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro switcher. I bought that years ago when I was doing the live stream vidjoki shows. So I could do multiple camera angles. And it's been a champion. Thing works well. Yeah, sitting here looking at the graphics, it looks like we should be getting some of the outer bands right now. Now, I'm not a meteorologist, so I can't say those are from the outer bands or those are from the southwest monsoon, the Habagat. They just clouds to me. That was pretty much it, Kel. I asked her earlier, you need some rice? Get the rice out before I start the stream. No, I don't need any rice right now. Then she needs rice in the middle of the stream. Thinking ahead is not one of Big Pumpkin's strong points. Her way of thinking is, well, what's the big deal? I'll go get some rice when I need the rice. Baby, I'm in the middle of a super typhoon weather report here. Let's see, Eli, how you doing? Have I ever thought about building a very small house, one step up from Nipa hut construction so it doesn't blow away? At some point we'll build something. I'm just not at that point right now. I like being mobile. I like being able to move around in this country as the situation dictates. But I'm not getting no younger. I realize that. So at some point we'll build something. That pretty much sums it up, Jeff. Clearly differing priorities. Absolutely. Me and this woman have different priorities. We always have. We always will. You are covering a global story of an epic, massive weather event broadcasting to a global audience. Fatima needs a scoop of rice. That pretty much says it all right there. That describes it accurately to a T. There's no fat in that. That's the way it is. I'm broadcasting live to the globe. She needs a scoop of rice. I'm like, baby, can it wait? Nope, I need rice. Okay. Yeah, they were making those suggestions. Y'all were making the suggestions yesterday to make her the weather lady. And again, I tried to explain to her, Mexico, Central, South America, the weather girls are voluptuous and beautiful. People watch them, not the weather. But she wouldn't do it for very long because she'd start complaining her hands are getting tired, or you get about 2 minutes worth of that, and then she'd be wanting to go sit down somewhere. Okay, Living Blank, how you doing? Let's see, let me help you out a little here. If you want people to stay involved, make your screen bigger. Most Americans watch YouTube on their TV. If your screen is small, they will flip the channel. Okay, I do agree with you. Most of our viewers and the shift on YouTube, back in the day, everybody watched on the cell phone. Now, most people are watching on a big screen. I mean, I think ours are like 70% of you find folks out there are watching on big screen TVs. So you're saying that my picture-in-the-picture screen needs to be a little bigger. And over the past few months, I've experimented with this. At one point, I had half the screen as me in like a portrait style, right? Like Mona Lisa style. But what was happening was the source material I was putting up on the screen, it was too small. I couldn't read it. I said, well, if I can't read it, the viewers probably can't read it. So I went back to the small picture-in-a-picture box. Now, I can always switch over right here and be large and in charge. And if it's just a topic that I don't need any source material, well, this is what I would do. But being that everybody's looking for information on the storm, I gotta have these graphics. And then it leads to the question, what's more important, to be able to see the graphics or to be able to see me? But your comment is that it's important that my screen is bigger. So again, folks, all this stuff is trial and error. There's no manual for this. I have no background in this. So I will work on making the picture-in-the-picture a little bit bigger. But the reason I look so small is I changed the perspective, so if Big Pumpkin comes into view, you can see her. Or if I have a guest, Joy or Big Pumpkin sitting here, you can see them or both. That's why I made the angle, I got like a wide angle view now. But I do realize that I look so small when I'm in the picture. So I got to work on that. Yeah, Fatima is definitely the comic relief, but she's just being herself. That's not staged. I did tell her earlier, if you need the rice, get it now. Don't disturb me. She don't care. Don't care. And I made the mistake. I locked the door so my son can't run in here. But I left the key dangling in the door. So she just turns the key and comes on in. Don't worry that the door is locked while I'm broadcasting to a global audience. Okay, so then Kel says, I like to look out the window as the big screen. It looks very aesthetic. Okay, so I can put that back up there. Okay, And then Living Blank comes back and says, people are here to watch you. You and her are the show. If we want to watch the weather, we can just watch our local show. Okay, there you go. All good points. All good points. So maybe I solve the problem just by A, making the picture in the picture box bigger. I can do that. Or B, I can move the camera close where I'm bigger, but then you can't see if people come in and there's action going on, right? Plus, when I get dramatic like this, it's all in the frame. I can make the box bigger, so I'll start out with that. And again, before I had it half the screen. You know, all I just go around and look at some different news, the way they're doing it, and people just doing so many different things. But I do agree. Why would somebody watch my weather show versus watching a real meteorologist? What do I have to offer that the other ones don't? And the one main thing is the live feed from boots on the ground. But I do agree, people are here to watch the personality. That's what I've got that everybody else sitting in other places don't got. They don't got the ground truth, boots on the ground. If you want to know what the weather is doing in Subic Bay right now, I can guarantee you 100% what the weather is doing right now is right out that window, right there. You're looking at it. Now, what's going to happen in 3 minutes? I can't predict that. What's going to happen in the next 10 seconds? I can't predict that. The only thing I can do is assert that. I see, I got to put the window over there because anyhow, that's the weather here on Subic Bay. Is school canceled? No. Why? How do I know that? My daughter's in school. I took her to school this morning. I saw people going to work. So as of right this moment, this typhoon is not impacting operations here where I'm at on Subic Bay. Boom! David Vidalis off the top ropes. Yes, we are staying dry for the most part. Thanks for joining us. We just had a couple of 10-second sprinkles of rain. Nothing much going on here right now, my friend. Now tomorrow there should be some heavy rain according to the meteorologist at Pagasa, and they are the experts. So tomorrow will probably be raining cats and dogs, if I had to guess. In about 15 minutes, folks, we should get an update from Pagasa on the typhoon and on, I'm assuming they'll issue the weather advisory on the rainfall too. And so the plan is, once we get the updated reports, the bulletins from Pagasa, we'll go over that. And being that there's nothing going on, at that point I'll shut the stream down. But I'll be on a hair trigger that if any really bad weather starts rolling in, I'm going to go live. If not, I'll go live tomorrow morning. Now you got to follow me here. You got to follow me. If I don't go live, there's a good chance there's some bad weather which has resulted in what? A brownout. So I'll tell you right now, my intentions, 100% of my intentions are to go live tomorrow morning, same as I'm doing now. If I don't, then you make the assumption it's probably raining pretty good and the dude's got a brownout. Maybe I'll try to fire up a cheap stream on the cell phone if I got a good signal. But if you don't see me live tomorrow morning, it's because there's a brownout. That'd be the only reason. A beer and a Jack and Coke both sound delicious right now. They really do. Quitting drinking 2 years ago was a good decision at the time. You know, I told you I'll always go on these check rides, as I call it. And let me listen to the rain here. Can you hear the rain? Rain hitting the tin roof over there, so we're getting a little bit of rain right now. And then it just dies off. But now, quitting drinking at the time was a great decision. I was too fat, drinking too much. Got the weight off. Got caught up on a bunch of things. But I do miss having a nice beer in the evenings, nice glass of wine while I'm barbecuing. Okay, so just a little bit of rain rolling in. I don't know if that microphone captured the ambiance or not. I got a nice stereo microphone on that camera, but when it comes into the switcher, it all gets put together. So you can't hear like left and right anymore. It won't stay in stereo. See, Wayne, how you doing? Checking in from Southern Florida. Thanks for joining us. Let's see, people want to see Fatima raise my stress level. There's plenty of that. That's why I stop in. My wife is a Filipina, and some days she drives me nuts. People just don't know. That's true. I mean, you know, I think women in general were focused on driving us crazy, but Filipinas to the extreme. But the good thing is it's on such low levels of issues that it's comical. If you let it stress you out, it will, but it's such low level stuff that it turns into comedy. Just like her coming here and rustling through this damn rice bucket. You know, when I've got everything positioned properly, I got this mouse pad, the mouse, both the mice lined up where I can easily reach under here, right? I got everything set perfect, and this is such a delicate system here. Y'all don't know how delicate this is that this thing is running. There are so many links in this chain that could go like that and break and shut my live stream down. You know, state the obvious. The electricity, the brownout, the internet goes down. Okay, one of my cameras goes down. Like 30 minutes before the stream, my laptop wouldn't show up. Things wouldn't recognize the laptop. I couldn't put my graphics up there. It's like a small miracle to be able to get this thing going. There's so many steps, and they're all in your head. Maybe I need to go through a checklist. Note to self, make a checklist. But the checklist would be like flying a 747 to get this up and running. And she's gonna come in here and disrupt my mouse table, where if one of those mice click the wrong thing, it's going to screw everything up. Don't care. Just don't care. She needs that rice. She's going to come in here, and she's not going to leave until she gets that rice. Don't care what I got to do. No concern. That's a Filipino old lady for you. But that's what makes it comical. So again, folks, if you're just stopping in and just joining me, you're seeing current conditions here. We're located just off of Subic Bay. We're just now starting to see some rain. But usually as soon as the rain starts, it just goes away. But we're getting a little bit more rain coming down now. Again, just normal conditions here on Subic Bay. Let's see if you can hear the ambiance of that with the microphone pointing outside. Can you hear the rain, or does it just sound like white noise in the background? starting to come down a little bit now. Let's check the other direction. Multiple camera angles here. I think you can see the rain a little bit more clearly there. So I do got some rain coming down. Enough rain to take down a couple of mango leaves off the mango tree. And you can't see if the cow's headed for the hills or not because they're in the background. It's a light colored cow. But there you go. So we are getting some rain here on the beautiful Subic Bay. There we go right there. My curtains are sort of blocking the view there. Let me open up my curtains. I'll be right back with you. I'll let you listen to the rain. Okay, I'm back. And just as I sit down, the rain starts subsiding. But at least we're getting a little bit of rain, cooling things off here. Again, every time that rain comes down, cools off that tin roof, it dropped 10 degrees here in my studio with the windows open. So 10:53, about 10-15 minutes here, we'll get an update from Pagasa on what's going on. Get the latest and the greatest information on Typhoon Inday. If you're just joining me, it got downgraded from Super Typhoon Inday to just Typhoon Inday. Now, I keep explaining it, but some people get confused. This was Super Typhoon Bobby, Ricky Bobby. That's the international name for the storm. But once a storm enters the Philippine area of responsibility, it receives a local name, and here in the Philippines, they're calling it Typhoon Inday. So, Typhoon Yolanda, what was the official name or the international name? Haiyan, whatever it was. Here it's known as Yolanda. If you say the word Yolanda, people know what you're talking about. If you say Haiyan, they're like, what? They don't remember that. But you say Yolanda, they know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see, L. McGee says you can start a white noise channel with that rain. Those things get a lot of views. Like those live streams with that type of video, there's always thousands of people watching that. I guess they just put it on in the background Sort of like those fireplace type deals. Okay, now I've got the stereo mic on. Can you hear the rain, or does it just sound like more white noise? I'll leave that microphone on in addition to this one. Okay, hope you have your life vest and arm floaties so you can pick up the kids later. Okay, we got the new motorcycle, but my plan with the bike. Oh yeah, it's coming down a little bit now. Let me see the other perspective. There you go, right there. He's starting to come down a little bit. Back to the bike though. Okay, there's reverb. All right, let me turn that off. That's what happens when you turn two mics on. Too much reverb. Basically with the bike, the plan is on beautiful days, I take the kids to school with the bike. Damn bug. And when it's raining, call my man on the trike. Damn ant. So this afternoon we'll be taking the trike to go pick up my daughter, take Forrest G to school, no problem. Yeah, because I have not picked up a poncho yet. And you know what I have over in Thailand, one of the best things I took with me, I have an old Gore-Tex jacket, the Gen 1. The original Gore-Tex jacket issued by the U.S. Army. With the big hood. Those original Gore-Tex jackets, one of the best pieces of gear they ever put out. The new ones, not so much. But that thing, when we moved to Thailand, I bought one for me and one for the old lady. And anytime it rained, we just zipped up in those Gore-Tex, warm, just snug as a bug, dry as a bone. It gets cold when you're riding a motorbike and it's raining. Just put them Gore-Tex jackets on, we were golden. So I'm wishing I had that thing here right now. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you very much. Let's see, too beautiful. Shout out from Chicago for being a great father to those babies. Thank you very much. Those two babies are my life. Just thanks to y'all watching my show, listening to my voice. I get to spend all my time with my kids. I certainly appreciate it. Okay, I Laugh says the sound is annoying. Okay, well I've got all the mics turned off right now other than this one. And the purpose of switching to this this old interview mic, this is like an OG mic right here. The purpose was because this thing filters out most of that background noise. That's just too much. The rest of my microphones are designed for the most part to pick them up, unless I go with the wireless. The DJI do pretty well, the wireless mics. But sitting in this room, this thing right here is the best for rejecting just too much outside noise. Let's see, Jamie checking in from Texas. Ike Mike checking in from Staten Island. And Michael says it sounds good on my end. Okay, yeah, so everybody's got their preference. But yeah, when I put two mics on at the same time, there's that reverb. They pick up each other. So look, I'll turn off my mic and I'll turn on the mic pointing outside. And now I turn my mic on, and there's probably some reverb because they're both picking each other up. Now I could defeat that if I move that camera way outside and put them apart. But due to the rain, that camera's indoors pointed out the window to keep it from getting wet. I've got the old RX100 in the carport. It might be taking a few sprinkles or splashes, but it'll be okay. That's the challenge when you're trying to do weather reporting, right? You got to keep the cameras dry. Yeah, I got to get some t-shirts up and coming. I got the one t-shirt on there. I got to get some new t-shirt stuff up. I keep saying that. It's on the list. Okay, Philippine and American Love are reporting getting some heavy rain now. And if I say it right or wrong, Batak, or is it Batak? Close to another one I'm going to mess up. Luag. Did I say that right? Okay, wherever y'all at, you're getting some heavy rain, and I would make the assumption it's coming this way. So the heavy rain might be starting sooner than tomorrow. But see, the minute I say that, it just goes and dies back down. Alright, let's go over and check to see if Pagasa has put out a new bulletin. It's 11:02. I'll put us over there right now. Okay, there we go. So that's the last bulletin. Let's refresh our screen and see if the new one, there you go. Boom, hot off the press. And big shout out to Pagasa. Man, they got this one on time today. Okay, so we'll leave it right there. So y'all can, looks like y'all can see that good. You can see me good. Okay, so this is straight from Pagasa, Tropical Cyclone Bulletin number 7. Inday has slightly weakened as it moves northwestward over the Philippine Sea. Okay, so again, the T indicates typhoon status. And that's the projected track. It'll still be a typhoon once it hits mainland China. And around 8 a.m. on Sunday, they're reporting that it's going to be downgraded to a severe tropical storm. So there's the track and the times. Let's just go through this right quick, take out the important information. So it looks like they have issued a new weather advisory, number 12. So we'll go over that immediately after this. It has to do with the rainfall. Alright, getting some heavier rain here. Okay, again, very rough seas, up to 6 meters up there in Batanes. So obviously you don't want to be on the water right now up near Batanes. Okay, let's scroll on down. Movement. Alright, yesterday it was moving about 25 kilometers per hour. Then the last bulletin had it at 20. So it looks like it slowed down to 15 kilometers per hour. What does that mean? I have no idea because I'm not a meteorologist. Does it mean that it's going to peter out before it gets to Taiwan? Or does it mean that it has a chance to strengthen again before it hits Taiwan? But what I understand it to be, the slower it goes, the more rain I'm going to get dumped on my head. That's what it means to me. Could be wrong about that. The strength of the storm, 165 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 205, which again is down a little bit from the last bulletin. It's going down here to wind signals. Okay, so we've got wind signals, signal number 2, which yesterday I think we only had signal number 1 listed. So Batanes, we got signal number 2 up in Batanes. Batanes, the islands up north of where we're sitting on the big island of Luzon. And then they go down through, okay, let's go on down. Now here's signal number 1, a lot of locations on Luzon. So instead of reading them all off, again, the links to this are in the description if you want to check on your particular area. And then down below are all of the previous tropical cyclone bulletins. Alright, so what's the takeaway here? You got some areas on Luzon under signal 1. Batanes is under signal 2. There's our updated track. Now let's go over, and we should see let's refresh the screen here from weather advisory number 11. We should see number 12 pop up. Yeah, right on the money. Okay, so number 12, it's still showing tomorrow from the cyclone. Now look, they differentiated in these charts. Due to the cyclone, Batanes is looking at a bunch of rain, to simplify it. And then they break it down, heavy rainfall due to the southwest monsoon, the Habagat. Now we got a lot more folks listed on here. Today to tomorrow in this first column, if you're in those areas, 50 to 100 millimeters. Tomorrow, Zambales is in the category. That's where I'm sitting right now. Bataan, so all the way from here down to Batangas. So Batangas is south of Manila. So basically from Subic down to Batangas, a lot of rain, all these additional spots. And then look what happens on Saturday. Okay, this is what I need to know because I'm in Zambales. Okay, it's raining now today. We're not even on the list. Tomorrow they're telling me, hey, it's going to be heavy rainfall. That's Friday. 50 to 100. Then they're telling me on Saturday we're going to get 100 to 200. So interpreting this chart, we're about to get a bunch of rain here in Zambales. Because look at that. On Saturday there's only 3 locations on the list for that much rain. So again, I'm just speculating like Ron Burgundy, but I'm speculating. Kids possibly won't have school tomorrow, and then on Saturday we just need to hunker down here at the house because it's going to be raining so hard we can't go nowhere. That's old single dad's interpretation of this weather report. But again, just take a look and take note how they break it down and say this is due to the southwest monsoon. That's due to the cyclone. So like somebody mentioned earlier, when you look at, let's see, let me put it back up there. Nope, that's outside the house. Nope, that's not. Which button am I looking for? Right there. Oh, you dummy. Hold on a sec. Man. Damn, you dumb. Right there. When you look at this, somebody mentioned earlier that this thing is pulling in the rain from that southwest monsoon, the Habagat. So that all makes sense. Everything's starting to come together now like a puzzle. As this thing rolls up, it's sucking in that rain from down that way. But again, what does that mean for me? Simplified, it means I'm sitting here on Subic Bay. It's raining now. It's going to rain harder tomorrow, and on Saturday it's going to raining cats and dogs. Just plan on sitting around the house and chilling. You all saw the same material that I just looked at. That's my interpretation. If you have a different interpretation, please leave it in the chat. But what do we really want to know? Number one, as parents, we want to know, hey, this kid's going to have school tomorrow or not? This past year in Angeles City, it was always a struggle trying to figure that out. I'll tell you why. That's good information if you got kids that are moving here. You would have school closures, and it would only apply to the public schools. Like the mayor or whoever would say, okay, all the schools are closed, but the private schools can make their determination. So the public school would be closed, the kids' private school would still be good. And then there would be orders that come down to say all schools close. So it's sort of confusing in the mornings down over there, since the kids went to a private school to figure out, do they have school today? Because they would chat the other Filipinos, no, this kid's school got canceled, but their kids were in public school. So anyhow, I'm just bringing that up. What do I want to know as old single dad? I want to know, step one, the kids got to go to school tomorrow or not? All right, back to your comments here. Rain has subsided as quick as the rains showed up. There you go. Now it's not raining. Just a light sprinkling going on right now. Just a light sprinkling. There we go. I'm looking at so many screens. Sometimes I get confused and I can't figure stuff out. I'm on the wrong screen. I'm on the wrong mouse. There you go. There I am. So that's your update. The update on Typhoon Inday, formerly known as Super Typhoon Inday or Super Typhoon Bobby. Ricky Bobby. Now downgraded to a typhoon. And we just went over the latest bulletin from Pagasa. And again, what I've learned in doing this is that all the news sources, they're just interpreting the same source information that I'm interpreting. In the description, I put 3 important links if you want to take a look at exactly what I'm looking at right now. If you got family or you're here in the Philippines, this app is wonderful. It's produced somehow by Pagasa, or it's like a windy app but for the Philippines. So there's 3 links. This is one of them. The other one is the bulletins about the typhoons, and then the bulletin about the rainfall. What else you need to know? You can see it. What's the forecast? How much rain am I getting tomorrow? What else you need to know? If you're sitting in Taiwan, okay, you got a typhoon coming your way. There you go. The typhoon is coming your way. Sitting in Taipei, the eye is going to be very near Taipei. But at least it's not super typhoon status. It's been downgraded a bit, if there's any good news in that information. So at this point, what am I prepared for? I'm prepared to ride out a bunch of rain over the weekend, maybe possibly into Monday. Like a lot of times what I saw with the schools over there, you know, they cancel school on Friday and Monday to make sure. If they're going to cancel it Friday and it's raining, a lot of times they would do Monday too and just be done with it. And I'm just prepared to hunker down here at the crib. I will be going live tomorrow morning, which is Friday. But again, if I do not go live, it's because we have a brownout due to probably due to heavy rain, due to the storm. Why don't you just go live on your cell phone? Well, I can do that too. I don't like to because the cell phone is just it's not what I'm looking for. But if I have a brownout and still have a signal, alright, I'll try to fire up the cell phone. Alright, back to your comments here. We'll catch up on the comments. Let's see, ST Win 77. How you doing, my friend? Well, it's going to make landfall in mainland China. Just outer bands hitting here in the PI in the Philippines. Let's see, Albert checking in from Bulgaria. Yeah, the rain, as a matter of fact, we had gentle raindrops and now it's stopped. So as soon as it showed up, it left. At least here on the beautiful Subic Bay. Let's see, Alvin, how you doing? Checking in from San Diego. Hope your weather there is doing well. My time spent over in San Diego, loved it there. Love San Diego, love the weather. It's not Gaslamp, the Gaslamp district. The bars down there, man, I loved San Diego. I had a wonderful time over there. You know, on the weekends it was a decision. Which way do I go? San Diego, LA, Temecula, go to wine country. And what I found myself doing was either going to wine country or San Diego. Less and less going north to LA, heading to wine country or San Diego. And shout out to Edwin. Hope you're doing well if you're here in the chat. Also living in San Diego. Let's see, Jeff, Overstay News Network in full effect. That's right, my friend. Doing my best to put the updated weather information out there. Yeah, I guess I think the only t-shirt up on the shop right now is the I Love Jealous Filipinas shirt. I got to put some more designs. I got a bunch more scribbled down. And with this print on demand model these days, it don't take a whole lot of time to get a t-shirt up and running and live. You know, once you buy it, they just print it and ship it. There's no real inventory. But I got a couple more sayings and designs. See, Ike, how you doing, my friend? Thank you very much for the prayer. KC, how you doing? This series is as drawn out as the Strait of Hormuz countdowns were. That's about right. That's about right. That thing kept going on and on. Now we're seeing some activity over there now. You know, decided to give it some time. People were complaining too much politics. Big Pumpkin was complaining too much blah blah blah. I'll still maintain that all warfare is based on deception. A lot of people have given up hope on old DJT. There was a period where he had some steam going, then seemed to run out of steam for whatever reason. We'll fire up some streams and talk about it. But right now, I'm concerned with this typhoon and how much rain the southwest monsoon is about to drop on my head. Andy Perez, how you doing, my friend? Who cares? America first. All right, thanks for the comment. Let's see, Nova Rick, how you doing, my friend? Thank you for watching. Been watching for years. I certainly appreciate it. Okay, Eddie's checking in from Mac 10, heading home. Thanks for the meteorologist updates. Let's see. Boom! Alabaster smidge coming off the top ropes. I'm nowhere near the PI, but thank you for helping people affected by this storm. And thank you very much, my friend. It's certainly appreciated. And that's one of the motivations. You get live on the ground reporting from everybody in the chat. People can see a live feed looking out my window. If you got family here in Zimbalist, this right here is current weather conditions. It's not even raining. So no matter what they say on Fox News and sensationalizing everything, where I'm at right now, we're quite fine. Boom! Eddie Lee coming off the top ropes to help out with Maria's tooth fairy bills. Yeah, she lost. Let's see. Let me get my facts straight here. She had 2 or 3 loose teeth, and one of them was hanging on by a thread. So I went ahead and pulled it. I pulled it before her dentist appointment because I didn't want the dentist to charge me for that. She told me good job. Then she had the second one was loose, and let's see, I pulled that one too. And then the third one, I was in the process of trying to pull that thing, and all of a sudden it like jumped out. I mean, it was like that thing just bailed out and jumped out, hit the couch, hit the floor. I don't know what happened. But yeah, so she's missing like 3 teeth recently. And she loves the tooth fairy concept. Trust me, she does. So thank you very much, Alabaster Smidge and Eddie Lee. Thank you very much. Yeah, Big Pumpkin's new washing machine, the Yamaha. I know, everybody's hit me about that washing machine. Pissed off a bunch of people. If you don't know the story, let me tell the story and tell on myself. I fired up a live stream for the purpose of doing a sound check. That was the purpose. I'd got all my stuff set up, I had a new backdrop, I just needed to check my equipment. The conversation turned to washing machine. You find folks out there started sending funds to buy her a washing machine. I certainly appreciate it. Then the next day or so, I come out with a video talking about her new washing machine, which is a Yamaha YTX 125. And apparently pissed some folks off. I explained myself, but I don't think everybody got the message. The bike deal was a done deal from like 3 weeks ago. It's already been done, sealed, just waiting on to get the registration and pick up the bike. That was a done deal. It was a coincidence of events. What am I gonna do? Not do a video on my new bike? Not provide some good quality entertainment, put a smile on your face, make some people laugh? So that's what went down on that situation. Now I'm still holding out. I don't want to buy that washing machine because it's going to run up my light bill. My light bill was $21 the first month. The second month it went up to what, 38 or 39 bucks. Just shy of $40. I was expecting 19. Now I gotta buy a washing machine. It's gonna run my light bill the opposite direction. I'm probably approaching $50. Ay. When Big Pumpkin can wash clothes by hand, hang it up on the fence, all I gotta do is buy a washing powder. I told her, don't be buying that Downy. That's unnecessary expenditures right there. Don't buy the Downy. That stuff's too expensive, but it makes them smell good. Well, you got the fresh air here of the tropics. It'll smell like tropical rain, and it's free. Anyhow, so she does have a new washing machine, but it's not Maytag or Whirlpool, Yamaha. You see, El Majid says a snake farm in China got flooded recently. 900 plus snakes escaped, including vipers and cobras. Well, isn't that what happened down during Hurricane Andrew? Down in, where's that, Homestead? South of Miami down there. Some type of snake breeding facility, and it got flooded out during the hurricane. Now you've got all these snakes over in the Everglades screwing up the natural environment. And now we got to go over there and hunt pythons. Thanks to that snake breeding facility getting flooded out during the hurricane. Yeah, KC, and Forrest G is actually starting to learn the concept. Instead of just playing, he's actually starting to learn how to wash clothes by hand. Now he gives Big Pumpkin a lot of stress in his help. You just hear her, grumbling and griping the whole time because he's just in the mix. But he is actually learning how to wash the clothes. Just patience, Big Pumpkin. At some point, he'll know exactly what to do, and then you won't have to do them. He enjoys doing it. Okay, if you're just joining me, folks, it's coming up on 11:30 here. I'm in the mountains just next to Subic Bay, and there's a current weather here on the beautiful Subic Bay. So if you have families in Zambales right now, it's business as usual. Everybody went to work, everybody went to school. Light rain this morning, we got clouds rolling in. Basically no winds, just a slight breeze, nice cool breeze, 1 to 2 kilometers per hour. That's what it looks like here. And that's what it looks like out in the ocean to the east of northern Luzon. Okay, I'll just put it out there one more time and then I'll check the comments and we'll shut down the stream. If you want to see this graphic, it's a very good resource here in the Philippines. The link is down in the description. There's 3 links down there. If you click the first link, I think it's the first link. Anyhow, in the description box, you'll see this exact website put up by Pagasa. So it's like a local version of Windy, if I had to describe it. Okay, the second link will be to these typhoon or tropical cyclone bulletins put out by Pagasa. This is the most recent one issued at 11 a.m. We'll get another one today at 5. Okay, huge resource right there. So the second link, one of the 3 links will link you to that. The third link down in the description will take you to this weather advisory. And this is a fresh one issued at 11 a.m. And today is July 9th, Thursday here in the Philippines. Let's see. It'll tell you the rainfall outlook. So there you go. You're looking at heavy rainfall due to the typhoon. Right now, Batanes has got to pay attention starting tomorrow at noon to Saturday. Looking at this much rainfall. However, due to the southwest monsoon, tomorrow I've got to start looking out. And then on Saturday, it's going to rain on my head even more. And so the next bulletin will obviously have a 3-day outlook. So definitely, if you don't want to listen to my voice, just go down to the description, check on those 3 links, and it'll just get you down to the meat and potatoes. No fluff, no spin, no opinions about what's going on here. And so that'll be my new go-to stuff. I'm not going here, I'm not going there. I'm going straight to the source of the people who are here, the information that they're putting out. I don't need to watch the news and listen to their spin. And I appreciate you sitting here listening to me, but if you're in a hurry, just save those 3 links. There you go. I will go to the comments and then I'm going to shut her down. And shout out to my buddy. He says, man, when you do those live streams, you talk too much. You talk too much and go too fast. He's got a good point, because the more I talk, the faster I talk, the quicker my voice goes out. Alright, so let me get up to your comments here. Scrolled up too far here. Thank you everybody for your input on my setup here. Living Blank talking about my picture in the picture box is a little too small. Thank y'all very much for any of the input. Let's see, Jeff, thank you very much. Doing an incredible job with our son, man. We're doing the best we can do, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that comment. Yeah, Nova Rick. Yeah, we can certainly use a break. We welcome the rains and the clouds. Welcome some cool weather. And it's been pretty cool here lately due to the little bit of rain we've been getting. Yeah, and then Mike talking about the washing machine again. Yeah, I gotta get her a washing machine, you know. I don't want to, but you know what? During the rainy season, if you don't have a spinner, the clothes ain't never gonna dry. And then what do? I gotta break down, send it up to the laundry, and you're out money on that too. So yeah, I gotta get her a washing machine at some point. Alright, so I'll go around the horn. 161 thumbs ups. The like button. Smash the like button. I got 5 thumbs downs. I don't think you can see the thumbs downs, but I can see them on the back end here. Thank y'all for those 5 thumbs downs. I certainly appreciate it. Certainly appreciate that. Everybody who sent super chat during the stream, I certainly appreciate you. Thank y'all very much. Everybody who left a comment. Looks like we got 342 comments in the chat. That always helps out the algorithm as well. And KC's reporting a bunch of rain last night in Siem Reap. This morning it's beautiful and cool with a nice breeze. I love going to Siem Reap. Just a beautiful, quaint little place. I love going there. Alright, let me check around, look at some technical stuff here, and I'm going to shut her down. Just want to make sure I'm still up and running on that Twitch. After being timed out on Instagram after 1 hour, Facebook, I couldn't get it running. And then Elon Musk wanting money for me to be able to live stream over on Twitter. Like he ain't got enough money already. What can I do? Yeah, I don't see on Facebook that it's running. Unless somebody knows something I don't. I don't see it on the Facebook. But I don't really know how to use that Facebook crap anyhow. Alright folks, that's what I've got to offer. That's what I've got to offer. I'll leave y'all with the last look at the current weather conditions here on the beautiful Subic Bay. Thank you, Guapong Bacalao. Thank you very much for the comment. It does help out with the squirrels. Yeah, and I don't think they care what you say, just as long as you say something. That's how it works. It's a computer. Not as pleasing as the hot Colombian weather girls, but you do okay. I'll agree with you 100%. I'd much rather watch those hot Colombian weather girls. My goodness. Nobody cares about the weather. They just want to see them ladies. KC's reporting that it's difficult to spend $1,000 a month here in Siem Reap. Yeah, I love it there. I could live in Siem Reap, no problem. Now, other areas in Cambo, I just didn't fall in love with, but I fell in love with Siem Reap. Lady J says, buy her a dang washer and dryer, man. Every household has one. She don't want to be scrubbing those stains out your underwear. She don't got to scrub stains out of my underwear. I'm going to tell you why. Ever since I moved to Southeast Asia, stopped using toilet paper, you don't have stains in your underwear no more. You don't. Why? Because every time you go to the CR, soap, water, when you come out of the CR, you're cleaner than you are when you walked in there. No stains. None. See, I don't have that problem anymore. In America, you have that problem, you're dealing with toilet paper. But, yeah, I got to get her a washer. No dryer. No dryer. My gosh, if you had a dryer here, your light bill would be $10 million a month. Electricity here is very expensive. You don't want to own a dryer here unless you got big pockets and don't care how much your light bill is. Sometimes I wonder how these little laundries make any money. I really do. You know, you go up there, compared to the States, it's pennies on the dollar, wash, dry, fold, get it back the same day or in the morning. And they're using commercial washers and dryers, and I'm sitting there thinking about my light bill, and I'm looking at these things like, my gosh, how much is the electric bill in this place? And you get the bill for your laundry, and it's, peanuts compared to the US. You're like, how the hell do they make any money? I don't know. It's got to be a very, very tight margin. Very tight margin. That's it. KC, you said it right there. Soap and water. Basically, it's like taking a shower. Every time you go to the CR here, you take a shower. You come out of there cleaner than you were when you walked in. That's the best way to describe it. How else do you describe it? You got to go take a 10-200. After you're done, you take a shower. You come out, you're fresh. No skid marks. Zero. Haven't had skid marks since I left the United States of America. I mean, I could wear my underwear a week and they still no problems. Because every time you come out of the CR, you just took a shower. Some 4 loads a day, Lady J. You're doing a lot of laundry. Yeah, if I get her a washing machine, she'll just do 1 load a day, like she did over in Angeli's. We had an automatic washer over there. All she had to do is hang it up. Pretty easy on the workload. Yeah. Ethan, how you doing, my friend? Rickster, how you doing? Checking in from Texas. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Hope y'all are doing well. Well, folks, with that, it's coming up on 11:39. I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. And if you thought about anything I could do different with the stream, with the layout, how I handle the cameras, feel free to leave it, and I'll go to work on trying to try new things and make a better production here. Coming to you live from my studio here in the mountains overlooking the beautiful Subic Bay. Now, I said earlier I was going to have to take a trike to pick up Maria, but it stopped raining. Stopped raining. Might be able to pick her up on Fatima's washing machine after all. You know what I mean? On the Yamaha. Alright, thank you very much, Lady J. Folks, I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. If I do not go live, it's because there's a brownout due to heavy rain. Y'all have to understand. It's just life living in the PI. Occasional brownout. If not, I'll be going live. So with that said, as soon as I find the buttons here, I always forget where the end broadcast button is. Where is it? Where is it at? There it is. It says finish. Folks, y'all have a good one. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace out, my friends. See you tomorrow.